Good morning. Good morning, Beans. Give me just one beat, one tick, and I'll be right with you. Oh my goodness, so many wonderful people popping in. Thank you all so much for being here. I'm so excited to have this conversation today and to kind of explore this with you all. It's going to be so much fun. It's going to be very insightful as well, and hopefully we can, I don't know, together figure stuff out, come to some conclusions of our own. Well, welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm so not awake yet, but hi, Gorge. Sel, it's so good to see you, lovely bean. Thank you for being here. Yes, you take your time. Rise when you're ready. We'll be here. Stephen, thank you so much for getting first and for paying your taxes. Roshan, it's so good to see you. Ridiculous, thank you for getting second and paying your taxes. Robin, thank you for paying your taxes. Welcome in. Poke, you too. And Matsuma, thank you both for paying your taxes. It's Jaya, right? Gia Kimchi, thank you for paying your taxes. I know you said you're lurking. Nephilim, thank you for paying your taxes. Jacob, thank you for paying your taxes. Sheikah, thank you for paying your taxes. I love having you all here so much. We are not doing some yoga today. Although, unless you're talking about something else, in which case maybe. Hi, Robin, welcome in. Hi, puppy, welcome in. How we doing? We are going to be doing some squats. We're going to do at least 100 squats today so I can keep getting closer to my fucking goal. The goal that we had set. This is not active anymore. This is just what we have to do. Intentional relaxation. I see. Okay, so we are currently, if you are not familiar with World of Warcraft, especially World of Warcraft Vanilla, we are listening to the soundtrack of World of Warcraft Vanilla. We are 1,000% setting a mood here, and hopefully, in some way, shape, and form, this will also impose some thought-provoking questions within your brain holes about how music impacts an experience, right? Thank you so much for the follow. Welcome in. We have anonymous follows on. So if you'd like to join the conversation, please feel free. Otherwise, enjoy your lurk. Wednesday! Hi! I'm so sorry. Hi, Rusty. Hi, Poke. Hi, Roshan. How's your day? It's going so well. Rusty, I miss you. I love you. I hope you're having a really wonderful day. I hope life is treating you so well. It's always so good to see you. I see you sometimes in Middy's chat, and I'm so happy when I do. Rusty, we love you. We love you, oodles. Oodles and oodles and oodles, and I hope life is just fucking rocking socks for you, dude. I'm doing great, love you. Oh, we love you so much, Rusty. I'm so happy to hear that. That makes me so happy. I was doing some Fortnite squads last night and got my first crown for the season. Robin! I'm so proud of you. I'm proud of you and I'm excited for you and you fucking kicked ass, dude. Let's go. Maple Takes, hi! This is the music I listened to through most of university. Maple can relate, have been there, same. I I wasn't in university when I was listening to this. I was in high school, admittedly, but I spent, and I talk about this a lot, my relationship with World of Warcraft. I love playing the game. I do. And I grew up like basically playing it. One summer I spent an entire summer waking up, playing, going to bed, waking up, playing, going to bed. Eating? What was that? Not me, homie. So, I can relate. And I'm happy to have you here today because it sounds like you might be at least knowledgeable of WoW things. Oh, there we go with Aussies. I was working, going to school, reading. No sleep to be had. Dude, the raids. Brock, welcome. You love. Oh my gosh, how we doing on this cold ass rainy ass Sunday, dude? It's actually raining over here too. I'm doing pretty well. I'm like stoked. I'm stoked to be here. To those of you who are popping in, Maple, new friends, old friends, everything in between. Just so you're aware, today the goal is we're gonna be doing some. Yes, Rusty, I will show you in a second. I'll show you a close up, baby. Today we're going to be doing some scholarly reading. I kind of went on a bit of a tangent the other day and got to thinking about how I want to incorporate my desire to play video games with my desire to teach and learn and explore educational content. Um, and World of Warcraft seemed like a really interesting place to sort of settle in because there are. I am an anthropology student. I'll be graduating within the next. I'm graduating so soon, and so I had to figure out what the fuck I'm doing. And I figured this could be a fun way to do it, right? Because I started a community guild and I really want to get into WoW and have like friends playing WoW together so that we can just enjoy our time. But I also want to explore like I want to be cognizant and aware of what influences what negative impacts there could be in playing video games, right? Because there's always going to be positive and negative things. So we are going to be exploring that a little bit today. I'm a lyric. Got some Claire Obscure to progress before Rotterdam. Sounds absolutely wonderful, Brock. You enjoy your time. Thank you so much for stopping in. I'm going to catch up on chat now, everybody, but I'm really happy to have you here. Lurk away if you need to lurk. We'll just be yapping. So this might be a good stream for you if you need to take a nap. This might be a good one. It's going to be cozy chills. At some point later on, if we can get to it, I'd love to hop into the game. But we'll kind of see. We'll see where we're at because I am going to be playing the game in the Discord with some of the guildies. But yeah, I digress. Roshan, you and Maple, you know each other? Friendship? I love that. Life is amazing. I just recently came back from a trip to Japan and life ever since has been so good. I'm so rusty. I'm so happy to hear that. How was your trip? What did you get up to? Maple's choice of music on stream is questionable though, is it? Tell me more about that. Spaced, I love you. Welcome in, you bean. But I'm good, Nikki. Sorry for the delay. It was wrapping up on Oblivion, so I could sit here and hang out with you, puppy. No worries at all. How has Oblivion been? Have you been enjoying the jankiness? How are you doing? Is life good? Health good? Any good games? I am doing okay. Much better the past couple of weeks than I have been in a while, so that's really nice. Oh, Space, thank you. I only have my coffee right now, but I will get water just for you. And I hope that you were having a really good day, Space. Um, um, I'm gonna give you a cheeky little shout out then. Excited to be able to check it out because then this makes it easier for me to follow. And I can check you out later, meeples. Welcome to fucking. Yes. Okay, catching up. Oh yeah. Okay, so life is doing like a little bit better now. Navigating it still to the best of my ability. New game. Any good games? We're playing Outer Wilds right now. We're playing Hollow Knight. We're playing Resident Evil 8. Also playing World of Warcraft. So we're doing a lot of fun things. Wicked Lewis, thank you so much for the resubscribe. I appreciate you with your fucking prime, no less. 30 more days ad-free experience with this face. Also, no ads for today, where we're going to be having some very serious talks about World of Warcraft. And Rusty, we got a new nose piercing. We got this nose piercing because we raised $1,000 for the Palestine Children's Relief Foundation. And wait, was that it? You all helped me raise a bunch of money, and as a result, I got my nose pierced. Okay, also, unrelated, but unrelated. At some point, guys, I have a goal. I have an idea. Okay, so I'm gonna show you something really quickly. Hold on. Before we get into anything else, hi, Sam, welcome in. So I'm gonna show you guys something. This is how long my hair is right now. I want to keep it long for a little while longer. And I don't know, a little while is relative, right? But this is long hair. Long hair, right? I was thinking, and I've been contemplating this for a while. I want to do a twofold attack here. The first fold is, at some point, I want to do a sub goal or a charity goal or something where I dye my hair, certain parts, white. Because I really like that look, and I want to do that for a little bit of time. But then, if we if we continue streaming and we continue doing, well, we're going to keep doing charity goals and whatnot, but if we continue streaming, if we continue doing all that stuff, at some point, I want to shave my head. I want to shave my head and donate the hair. Yes, Booty Bandit. I want to shave it. Buzz. I'm buzzing it. All of it. But I don't know when that's going to happen. That is a long-term future
all I have
goal.
for you is chaos.
Hell yeah, Lewis. But I'm thinking about it. I think that would actually be kind of fucking rad. What do you guys think? Do you guys like that? You think? What do you guys think? Because hair grows back. Hair grows back, baby. Hair grows back. But doing good? So they take it. Oh, you know what? Space
Hell yeah!
They might not. They might not. But like if I... Oh. Well, shit. Space, you're right. You're right. I'm gonna have to think about this. Gonna have to think about that. Maybe we shave it first? Redeem a wig, Spaced! Oh my god, that's actually so good. That's so good. So, I've got some ideas. Having a full head of hair like this do be making me wanna do some shit. So, at some point, I wanna do a... I wanna dye my hair. I do. And I kinda wanna do that first. I don't know. Eventually, I'd like to shave my head. Shaving my head is a big deal. So, like, it's okay if it has to wait a while. But... That's some ideas. Anyway, I digress. I don't even know why I got into that. That's my bad. My bad. Rusty, have you been playing anything fun? And you got, yes, new piercing, yes. Okay, so first game I truly obsessed over was Halo PC, unless you count Doom and Hexen. Wait, that's so fun! The first game that, I think genuinely the first game that I obsessed over was World of Warcraft. Admittedly, I love having you here, Hunter. Thank you for paying your taxes. And Robin, I love having you here as well. You guys are wonderful, amazing beings. Thank you for being a part of this community and getting fucking hyped, hopefully, for the conversation we're about to have today. Because today is going to be a thick one. Thick freaking, I was going to say thick biscuits, but I think that's a dickery thing, so we're not going to, like, thick biscuit it. But we are going to talk about stuff. I think I was online for, like, 36 straight hours during a... Dude, Maple... My people, okay? I'm not saying it's healthy. I'm not saying it's good. But damn it all if I'm not human and I got some imperfections and I love staying up late and raiding like crazy. Anyway, let me get back. Let me focus up here. Learning nasty. My head hurts already. Hunter, then you close your eyes and you rest your pretty little head on a pillow and you do not, like, don't listen to me. Let my voice just lull you into slumber versus lull you into edumacation. Nephilim, how you doing today? I hope you're having a really good day. And my heart goes out to you. She could let me know what happened. And my heart. I love you guys. I'm a lurk. Brock, I really hope that you enjoy your lurk. And also, when you go to Rotterdam, can you please give Tiz a hug for me, please? Thanks. I played Rust 17 hours a day every day for 3 years during the pandemic lockdown because there was nothing to do. Roshan, that's so funny that you say that because... Yeah, that was also kind of my life, but I played Call of Duty. Call of Duty. Did you guys hear that? Maple's cool people. He's wholesome. I can't wait then. I can't wait to go and hang out. I'm a bot of nervous mess. Why? Oh my gosh, Poke, why? Currently, probs overthinking it, but yeah, Chaos, what's going on? Oh my god, hiccups. Jesus. Put your channel in my places to raid out to channel on disc, so I was scoping it out. Wait, you guys are sweet. Don't judge him by his his small playlist? Small or smule? I got suspended from the Mages Guild. I may have mistaken a live person for a zombie and threw a snowball, spell at them, and knocked them out. Wait, you got suspended from the Mages Guild? Oh, puppy. Oh, no. Do you think maybe the... Oh, yeah. I'll check it right now. Actually, I don't need to. It did the buzzing, and it stopped. So your laundry is good and dry. Listen, my choice in music is solid, okay? But I also found George Santos' 10-year-old karaoke account, and we sometimes use that for hype trains. Okay, I'm not even gonna judge you because honestly, I like whenever I learn about new music. And I don't know who George Santos is, but it sounds sick, rad, amazing. And hello, Sam, I'm so sorry. Forgive me, everybody. I am catching up on chat. I go on tangents. Y'all know this, so forgive. But welcome in, Sam. How you doing today? Wow, Poggers, cool. Hell yeah. Hey, that's awesome. Yeah, right. It was so rad. I'm so impressed. You guys are, it was this community. It was this community wholeheartedly. And they're crazy in the best possible way. 2 times life size on my screen. Let's go. My hair was close to that once upon a time. Pandemic lockdown days. Yeah. Pandemic lockdown days. Hi, Evil Weapon. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Yeah, we are. Thank you so much. The ends of my hair are dead. I gotta cut that. I gotta get that sorted out. But Dan, I was mentioning that I want to dye my hair. I want to do like, and it's not a full dye, but I want to dye my hair and do that white and black that I talked to you about. But I also want to shave my head at some point for charity, like full on shave, get a buzz cut, babe. I want to buzz cut my head. I want to see if my head is actually flat on the back. But also I want to do good, you know? Septum piercings on women look so good. In my opinion, it looks amazing on you. Thank you, Rusty. I love it. It took me a little bit of time to get used to it, but I love it. I do need to get a new piercing because I want the horseshoe, kind of like what Sheikah has and Salsa. And I think Layla too. But I need to look into it. But Evil, welcome in. Happy to have you here. Hair donation stream. Yes, love your top. Sam, also thank you. This is a nice way. I'm going to plug this really quickly, everybody. It says Sunday Social, and it's the Platypussies 2024. This is our merch. This is our merch for days like today. We have a segment on Sundays called Social Sunday where we like to look at life through an anthropological lens. And I dropped merch for it. So you too can get merch if you !merch it. Just saying. But I appreciate that, Sam. Thank you so much. All of it, not just one side. Yeah, all of it. 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 Let's fucking go. Yeah. I know, Evil. It won't happen for a long time though. So welcome into the space. You're gonna get a lot of hair streams. Do they take it if it's been dyed? Yeah, space. I don't think that'll be the thing. The idea is awesome. Thanks. Yeah, we have to figure it out, but we'll get there. You have the face that's perfectly suits buzz cuts. So I just want to know. I want to know. It would be so fun. Maybe some cute wigs after. Yes, Spaced. Oh my God, yes. Maybe you shave it and then I'll dye mine. Lewis. Okay. But it'll be a long time for now, but okay. But think of all the fun wigs. It's true. I wouldn't. I've got a ridge on the back of my head. I genuinely think the back of my head is flat. So there's that. Sign, welcome in. Thank you for paying your taxes. How are you doing today? You could just keep the highlighted parts separated when you do. Oh, that's true. Because I have a lot of hair. I have a lot of hair. And it's pretty much, I don't know how I feel about whenever people use this term, but it is virgin hair. So, thanks, guys. Yeah, so we'll figure that out. We'll navigate that in time, but for right now, we're figuring it out. Thank you for doing that. Seriously, it means a lot. Personal to me, Sam, of course. It again, it'll take a little bit of time, but I know that Zai has also talked about it, where he has mentioned that he grows his hair out in order to cut it to donate it, and I love that. I love that so much. Rusty has been sweating oblivion these days, and I can't wait to buy expansion. Wait. Rusty, do you have Game Pass? It's on Game Pass. Do you have Game Pass? It's on Game. You can get it on Game Pass. Getting elevated, then wowing it up. Let's go, Lewis! Let's go! I'm on PS5. You know what? Fair. Fair enough. Fair fucking enough. I hear people are absolutely obsessing over Oblivion and having the best time, and I love that. And then I also hear the same thing about Expedition 33, so I hope you enjoy it because it sounds rad. I'd probably pop in and out. I'll probably pop in and out weather good enough for yard work. Hell yeah, Robin, no worries. Get that yard work. Good morning, Game Over. Everyone loving all this early energy. Yeah, we here. We vibing. I was just kidding about that, but I will be ready to learn after church if you're still on. Sounds good, Hunter. I love it. Have I played Oblivion? So I played it a long time ago, Spaced. A long time ago. And it was enjoyable. Because I played it a long time ago, and because I sort of high-key obsessed over it a long time ago, I'm not sure if I'd want to play it again. But the temptation has been steadily rising. As I see more people playing it, I get that FOMO, you know what I'm saying? And then all of a sudden I'm like, well, I guess I'm fucking in it. But, yeah. Space, are you playing it and are you having the best time right now? Nervous about taking things a step further with my girlfriend in the intimate direction, but I'm just nervous wreck as I've never done that before with someone. So Poke, you take your time. There is no rush. You move, it's going to be nerve wracking, obviously. Anything that has to do with like vulnerability and whatnot is going to be nerve wracking. But move at your own pace, move at your own time. And what's better is that you have somebody, this is a prime time to exercise your capacity to communicate. And so if you haven't already, communicate with your partner. Communicate with your partner and let them know like, "Hey, I am fucking terrified of this. I want to, but I'm terrified of this." Whatever it means, whatever your like the meaning of an intimacy for you is and for like you two. And just like move through it together. I can understand and empathize with the fact that it is nerve-wracking and like that feeling is probably not going to go away even if you have the communication. But having that communication could be helpful. And I hope that you guys can talk about it. And I hope that you can get to that place where you feel comfortable and you guys can move in. And it's, yes, and Lewis, as Lewis said, it's also fun, which is, I think, one of those things. This isn't a complete tangent, but that's one of those things about growing up and having to navigate intimacy in all of its different variances as you move into your adulthood is that, like, at least in a Western sense, you're not really taught how to like embrace stuff and like be comfortable with stuff or be comfortable in the discomfort. So, yeah. Remember it's fun and it can be fun. It could be whatever it is that you guys need it to be. It may still be possible to donate hair after coloring it, but after enough time for the changes to wash out, game over. So that actually might be the ticket then, because why of course I'm just going to keep growing it out. So I'll do it the one time. I'll let it look fucking poppin', pop, lock, and drop in, and then I'll let it grow out. And then we'll chip, 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 chip. It'll have to be for a mondo mega big, like, charity stream, though. Like, shaving my head will be, like, one of the final goals of it, but we can discuss that in the future. Want to hear the craziest proposal I got from my stepmom today? Yes, Sam, I do. Call of Duty. Wow, Call of Duty. COD is a funny fish. That's true. COD do be a funny fish. You've never had short hair. What if you have a lumpy head? So Booty Bandit, 1. I have had short hair. I had a pixie cut way back in the day. But 2, if I do have a lumpy head, it is what it is. It is what it is. At least I'll know, you know? The unknown is scarier than the known. I'm still gonna try it. I'm still gonna do it. Hey, how are you doing? I'm doing okay. I'm doing okay. I'm a little sleepy too, but I'm doing okay. It's really good to have you here, and I'm happy to hear that you're doing okay. Or that it's okay. I hope you can get some rest maybe today. I'm pretty sure the DLC comes with it. I just went into Shivering Isles. Ooh, puppy. It sounds like you're having so much fun. I love it. But God graced me with fun, so I'm fine. I'm so happy to hear Resty. So excited. Hell yeah. As someone who high-key obsessed over it when it first came out, do it. Okay, Spaced. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna trust you. I'm gonna trust you. Oh my God, but I already have so many things that I'm obsessed with. Do I have the time? Remember, it's fun. I already told her that and she says it's totally okay. I'm just scared that I'll make it weird because I'm new to it. And what if I do something wrong? I know I'm overthinking, but you get what I mean. I do. And it's okay, Poke. You can come in here and chat about that. That's totally fine. Yeah, I get the fear of that. And honestly, embrace that you might make it weird. But also trust or try to find it within yourself, that feeling of trust that you might make it weird, but your partner is going to hold that space for you because clearly she knows, she understands, and she's totally okay with it. And so, like, in trying to avoid being weird, you might end up being weird, but then know that at the end of the day, no matter what choice you make outside of like hurting her, she will probably be like holding your hand throughout it, which is like, it's great. It sounds like you're creating, like, you two are creating a safe space for each other. At least that's my personal opinion, Poke. That often helps me. And outside of that too is if you present a situation where your partner cannot hold that space for you and makes you feel poorly about it, not in a way of like constructively, but like makes you feel shitty for being just a normal person trying to figure stuff out, that then can be a sign that this isn't the thing for you. That isn't the relationship for you. But I don't think that that's going to happen. Gosh, past few days, I'm having these crazy coincidences with people, and I don't even know what this means. You talking about intimacy? My stepmom today spooked me. Wait, about how she'd like for me to marry her brother or have one night with him, even when I'm not really interested in. He's way older than me. Okay, Sam. Yeah, what? Loving the Stormwind theme playing. You love it, Lewis? As it changes. Yeah, I'm sorry, but also, it's all vanilla music right now. So good. I'm happy that you're having fun with it. And Lewis, I'm going to be so interested if you have time and you're interested. It'll be so interested to hear your input on the conversation we're going to have today. But yeah, Sam, that's really alarming. Did you mention like how that's not what you want? I don't really work today, so it's going to be a lazy day. My body needs it, absolutely, sign. And you take this lazy day and you rest and you do what you got to do for yourself, for your body. I'm so excited for you. Thanks, Space. Me too. Also, Space, it's so good to see you. I love seeing you in like Layla's space and getting to hang out with you, even if it's through like those other means. I hope life is treating you so well. Practice a few times with a professional for don't listen to Boo Bennett. Don't listen. Told you it's a crazy proposal. It's to make things better, as in have a better life choices. And yeah, Sam, what? Tell your stepmom to butt out of your life. If that's so weird. It'll help me be straight or whatever that. Oh, it's one of those situations. I see. Okay. Well, now we could just not just, you know what? Walk away from that shit. You do not need that energy. And hello, energetic music lover. Welcome the fuck in. How are you doing today? How's your day? Also, Vilka, thank you for paying your taxes. How goes? Hello. It's so good to have you here. Welcome. They really trying to make you make better choices by offering one of the worst ones. Space, yes! Speak the fucking truth! Yeah, no. You're probably better off exactly where you are than following the advice of someone stuck in the way past. No, thank you. At least that's what I would say. Please hold while I just apply a little bit of makeup and then we're done. We're gonna get the fuck into today's discussion. Guys, I need you to remind me because I'm not going to do it now, but remind me at the end of the stream before I fucking log off, before I decide to raid out, we have to do 100 squats. Don't let me forget. Especially because I might hop into the game. So maybe that'll be a good time of like intermission to fucking do the work. Work. Yeah, Sam, I'd really, it's, I'm trying not to make it a bigger deal, but it really is a really, really big and alarming deal that your stepmom is, imposing that upon you. I don't think that that's a fair thing to do. I also think it's just like clearly, even though she might think she has your higher, like your better interests in mind, she doesn't. And nay nay. Nay. Uh I'm doing okay. Could be a lot better, but I had a lot of worse days lately. Oh my gosh, so it's a sign of things getting better. Absolutely. And I'm sorry to hear that things have been kind of rough for you lately. I um I feel that. Um for a plethora of reasons. But you know what? I really appreciate your positive outlook and I genuinely hope that things do get better for you because everybody deserves that. Everybody deserves to have the natural life experience of the highs and the lows, and then the highs again. I'm doing okay. My bunny is sick. I still have pain meds and some other meds for him that I can give him, and I have to force feed him. Oh my gosh, critical care formula, but he appears to be in pain. I can't go to the vet before Tuesday. He does eat certain treats, so I'm just giving him as many as those as he'll take. Velka, oh my goodness, yes, sending all the fucking hugs to you. That is very scary. I know how much you love your baby too. Is it something like is your bunny an older bunny? Is this something that the pain meds should theoretically be able to help in? It's just right now he's like refusing to take them. I'm cold, but do I turn on the AC? No, I just put on. Yes, sign that's the correct answer. Because then when you get warm, you take it off, and then you could just keep doing that over and over again. That was the correct answer. GG's. I know, yeah, we have to technically we have to eventually at some point finish up this because we did a donathon recently and we hit all of our goals, which is absolutely wild, but that means that I have to do 1,020 squats because we did one squat per $1 donated and I'm only at 500. So his experience with some good relationships, he can make me feel better for myself and can provide better than yeah, Sam, no. I would highly I mean, I would not necessarily recommend that taking her up on that offer. Nikki, has anyone ever told you that your positive energy is contagious even when you're not physically in the room? I was just thinking about it and it blows my mind that something like that can happen. Wow, congrats on being an awesome person. Rusty, you sweetie. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. I've heard people say that my energy is definitely something. But I'm really happy to hear that it's contagious for you. In a good way, in the good way. That sounded so weird, but you know what I'm trying to say, Rusty. Thank you. That's very sweet, and I'm happy that I can be something like that for some people. Um, I was stretching my hammies yesterday. I could touch my toes, dude. What? But my hammies and cheeks are sore as fuck today. Okay, so one, fuck yeah. Two, fuck yeah. We love it whenever our body gets sore. That means we're putting in the work, baby. Unless it's like a chronic illness, in which case that's not fun. That's not great, and I'm sorry about that. But Booty Bandit, you being able to touch your toes is an impressive feat. So congratulations on that. Golly, all those good relationships that aren't still a thing for some reason. Who could resist? I hope you create so much. Sorry, that was probably so loud for you guys, but fucking space, that was perfect. That was perfect. Way to reshape that because Sam, it sounds a little bit like there's a bit of a manipulation going on within that relationship. And yes, I agree with everybody else. Please protect yourselves, make the space that you need, and distance yourself from that because it's not. It used to be my dad, and now it changed to my brother. It's just honoring the family, and I'm thinking of getting a restraining order against them, Sam. And if that's what you need to do, that's what you need to do. Protect yourself 1,000%, because that is a lot. Like getting literal sunshine from your screen. You guys are sweet. I bet we actually get. Imagine. Wait, but if that means okay, so if theoretically I could be giving everybody vitamin D, that means that anybody could give anybody vitamin D, which means that if we were able to be more like, if the world was in a better spot for us to feel better, we could all be like contagiously happy. Wouldn't that be cool? My bunny will be 5 years old by the end of September, assuming that he'll get through all of this health trouble all the time. So if only, I know. So he's definitely not an elder bunny. I have to keep an eye on him. I hear you, Velka. My heart goes out to you. I'm really hoping that your sweet baby makes it through to Tuesday, eats all the treats, gets all the love, because that sounds really scary. I wouldn't even know where to begin with dealing with that kind of pain and having to wait that long. So sending all the thoughts to you in the bun. Okay, everybody, we made it to the end of chat. So, how about we do some explorating? Explorating. All right. So here, actually, let me go back over here. Hold on. By the way, has anyone watched the Until Dawn movie? No. That is ass, but I also like a little bit. I haven't watched it. Now you're making me want to watch it. Thinking that they'll change and we'll understand their crazy mindset, but apparently they want to be the worst ones. Well, Sam, you can't force anybody to change, yeah. And like some people are genuinely stuck in their ways, and it's like you have your existence and how you feel comfortable living. You have your identity and other people have theirs. And while some of them you might not agree with in the same way that they don't agree with yours, like they are going to have their own ways. And so I'm sorry that they're not going to change. Or that they aren't changing right now in the time frame that you want, in the ways that you want. I don't think that you're stupid for wanting that. Personally, I think that it is a really valid desire to want the people that you care about or the people that theoretically care about you to value you as the person that you're showing up as. But yeah, creating that space, doing what you need to do to protect yourself, protect your own sanity. I think that's just going to be the way of it. And you'll find the circles and the people that resonate with you and accept you for who you are. And hopefully that'll be a good shift in the right direction. It's a bit ass though. It's nothing like the video game. Oh no. I mean, I'm interested, but also I don't know. I don't know. Hi Drew, welcome in. Critical Care formula is a powder mixed with water, and as such, it also hydrates him as well. So you're having to force feed him then. I see. Well, I hope that he continues taking it as well then. Is it too bad to be not in a relationship or being interested in one? Nope. It's not a problem at all. If you're not interested in being in a relationship, you don't want to be in a relationship, that's not an issue. 0% of the time is it an issue. Or wait. Yeah. Yeah, it's not an issue. Sam, you be on your own for as long as you want to be on your own. And if that's forever, guess what? That's forever, baby. Hi, Kenny. Welcome in. Okay. I'm going to give you guys the rundown of what we're doing today, in case you missed it earlier. Actually, I'm going to go and get a snack really quickly. I'm going to go get a bagel, and then I will give you the rundown. So everybody, get your here. I'm going to host a poll for the 2 seconds that I'm going to be away. Do you like WoW? Question mark. Yes. Nar. What's that? I'm gonna host it for 2 minutes. Okay, there's a poll. Do you like WoW? Yes? No? What the hell is that? BRB. Hi, JJ. Welcome. Give me a second. I'll be right back. I'll be nearby to get the vitamin D, though. Sounds good, Westy. You enjoy. If anything exciting happens, let us know, okay? JJ, how you doing today? Yes. That's okay. Space you also enjoy. Please, keep us posted. I want to hear about your adventures. I heard it's not bad, but also not great. Kind of does its own thing instead of replicating the game. Seems fair for a horror flick. Most horror flicks are not technically good. Ooh, fair enough. Sounds good, Lewis. You do you. Exciting from the start, but at the same time, not at all. Jank already? Did anybody go flying into space or anything? I saw that somebody on TikTok replaced all the food in a restaurant with poison apples. That was very fun. I still want to convince him about my view on my own life. Okay, so 3 of you like it, and 3 of you have no idea what the fuck WoW is. So let me... this is amazing. Okay, perfect. In my head, I'm like, leave me the fuck alone, but I can't say that, and all I can say is stop worrying about me and act like you really care and let me be. Sam, if you can, then keep trying. If you have that energy, if you have that capacity, but if not, then honor that secondary feeling you're having. Put me in, Professor Wildlore Bandit right here. Okay. But here's the thing, Lewis. First of all, I'm very excited about this because I want lore knowledgeable people in this space. I think that's going to be very important to what we're going to explore. But we are also, it is kind of a twofold exploration here. The reason why we are even getting into this today is because I have been playing World of Warcraft again, getting back into it, and I've been noticing that the game itself, as far as what I can tell, because I'm not actually doing the quests and reading the lore in that as I used to. So my kind of generalized understanding is that the world has. I'm not a huge fan personally, but looking forward to see the community enjoy Puppy Herd. Okay. Um, the world has like the factions and like the animosity and stuff. While it is still very much there in different ways, there is this attempt to join together for a common goal, which I think is interesting. I don't know if it is an intention, like if it is to try and kind of go back on all the stuff that WoW was in its vanilla era, or if it's like, okay, we just need to find a new direction, and like this whole separation, like of factions and whatever isn't working, so we need to just do something different. Because you can only do like the Horde hates the Alliance and the Alliance hates the Horde so often or so much. But I've noticed that there is this like coming together, right? So like the Alliance is working with the Horde, the Alliance can join Horde guilds and vice versa. There's something shifting in that regard. And I thought, hey, that's pretty cute. That's pretty cool. That's pretty rad. Excuse me, where is the stream suggestion tab to request Elder Scrolls lore stream one day? Herd spaced, and actually, I would love to do that. I'd love to do that. End of the War 2 X packs. Okay, so the storyline itself is saying that these two factions are trying to come together, right? The Alliance and the Horde are trying to join forces. Is that what you're saying, Lewis? But space, yes, I will absolutely make a little cheeky note. Elder Scrolls lore stream. Okay, so that is exciting. That's good to know because we are going to explore what WoW was through an anthropological lens, through like a very like academic lens in 2016, which is closer to vanilla, closer to like the conversations are closer to vanilla, closer to what it used to be. And while I like the progression that WoW seems to be making as far as trying to join forces and like get over these like hurdles of animosity with one another and prejudice against one another, I think that there is still a level of cultural, I don't know, there's something that I about the culture, especially the troll culture, that I am not sure the developers of WoW outside the scope of the world considered when they started implementing it into the game. The Remarkable Life of I don't even know who that is, Lewis. Lewis, okay, here's what I want. Today, we're going to talk about culture, race, and all that. But Lewis, I want to have you on my something podcast, whatever is happening on my stream that I'm talking to people about their special interests, and I want you to just tell me about World of Warcraft stuff. Okay? Because actually, genuinely, I want to know. I think that would be so sick. Don't make me go back to school, Booty Bandit. Guess what? Joke's on you. You're already in it.
Hell yeah!
You sat your ass down in stream, and guess what? A seatbelt was strapped over you. You got a pencil in one hand and a sheet of paper in the other, and you're gonna be taking notes because it will be on the test. I'm sorry. Please tell me. Okay, I'm gonna get so caught up. The last time I played it was 2006-ish of WoW or Oblivion. I haven't played World of Warcraft. I couldn't really understand it. That's okay, Sam. That's okay. It's we're talking about World of Warcraft, which comes after the Warcraft games, but yeah, I'm you don't have to have played it to know what we're going to be talking about today, or kind of like to become invested in what we're talking about, I don't think. Personally, I think some people tend to be too critical when it comes to movies in general. For me, it's fair to accept some films to be good and others to be good enough. So, yeah, game over. I think I would agree with that. I'm one of those people that sometimes expects things to be way too good than it is, but I agree. Hi, Ghetto Nerd. How you doing today? Thank you for paying your taxes. Welcome in. We're doing our social Sunday vibe today, so we are learning. Gotta be learning. Wow. Okay, Spaced Heard. Yes, you're gonna get caught up. You're gonna get caught the fuck up, baby. Okay, so that's all like the lead up, right? So that we can get into this. And I'm sorry, it's gonna have to stay white and blinding. So we're starting here. Race-based fantasy realm essentialism in the World of Warcraft. Thank you, Lewis. Heard. I'm excited. I'll take a look at it in a little bit. So we're gonna read through some of this stuff. We'll explore the website a little bit. I have this Reddit thing up that'll kind of give us a little bit of a history as well, I think, based on expansions. And then we might hop into the game, and I'm going to show you guys what triggered my interest in kind of exploring this. Now, I don't necessarily have a specific goal in mind. I'm just sort of navigating this as my intrigue is piqued. So this is where it started. After I became a Zandalari troll, and I went to the Zandalari troll location, I was like, oh, this is interesting. There's a lot of different cultural influences happening here. And the Zandalari trolls are like incredibly well adept, they feel. But then the dark spirit trolls that I am used to from vanilla WoW were kind of cast in this light of being like the term of savage, of primitive, and with that correlation, right? With that fantastical description, there is oh, I don't have water. You're right. Let me go get that. With that description though, it also made it so that the trolls have more of like a Rastafari or like African culture. And like this article specifically sort of explores a bit of that, where it's like, to what degree is race in the World of Warcraft sort of perpetuating stereotypes in life? Now, it's not just World of Warcraft, right? We're talking about World of Warcraft because that's my special interest, but it is like games in a general sense, fantasy in a general sense. There's a touch on Tolkien, so it's like it's not just WoW. And this is not to like make anybody become defensive per se, because I know that there's nuance to everything, but this is just where we're gonna start. Okay, so I'll be right back. I'm gonna get water. I got it. I got the water. Yes, Layla. That is so okay, babe. That is so okay. You rest to your fucking heart's content. You take your time. I love seeing you. Thank you for being here. Ace, also welcome in. It's so good to have you all here. Thank you. We are talking World of Warcraft, race, culture, etc. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read the abstract. We'll read the conclusion. Maybe we'll get into the intro a bit. And I read through this one already, so if I can remember where certain points are, we'll get into it. But this is the conversation that's being had here, right? This is an article from it was published in 2016. The authors probably wrote it around 2012. And this is free to find online, so it's not like I actually went through my school to get this or anything. You can find this yourself online. Layla, thank you for paying your taxes, love. It was so fun getting to hang out with you and Dick last night, by the way. But yes, rest. So the abstract here, the title is Race-Based Fantasy Realm Essentialism in the World of Warcraft, which actually I should have done. Okay, so essentialism, the philosophical tenet that objects and classes of objects have essential and not merely accidental characteristics. So, essentialism in this context is saying race in World of Warcraft is a, like, your character's race, culture is all encompassing the identity. So it's almost like attributing culture to biology, which biology is the essential elements of like your body, right? But culture in actuality is a created thing in real life, right? In the real world, we create culture. Culture is not an inherent thing within us. So your race does not dictate your culture. But in the game, and with the limitations of a video game, that is what has happened with World of Warcraft, right? And other MMORPG kind of things. Layla. So, okay, we're not touching on it too much today. So if you want to learn a little bit more about essentialism, you need to go over to Layla's space because she's going to be out there giving you a bit more of a deep dive into it, okay? But that is just kind of like a brief understanding of it. So you guys kind of get what's going to be talked about here. And like that definition, like you'll get that definition. So this article explores issues of racial essentialism and ethnicity in the massively multiplayer online role-playing game MMORPG World of Warcraft, or WoW, the fantasy world of Azeroth, which is the entire world that is the majority of a lot of it is on, especially with vanilla, mirrors elements of real-world race-based societies where culture is thought to be immutably linked to race. So that is what WoW constitutes, right? The notion of biological essentialism is reinforced throughout the gamescape. Race plays a primary role in the social and political organization of Azeroth. Among other things, race determines alliances, language, intellect, temperament, occupation, strength, and technological aptitude, which I would love to know based on everybody else's experience with video games. If you play video games, have you ever taken into consideration that element where if a game explicitly assigns a race to, like a culture to a race, and within that assigns specific like skills. D&D does this a lot too, right? Where you have like the night elves, they do, or not the night elves, but like the humans have certain increases to their stats versus the orcs. Have you ever considered whether or not there's those elements of like I want to say racism, but it's more like, oh my gosh, I can't even think of the word right now. I guess just, have you ever considered how culture and race is represented through this medium, through D&D, where these like stats kind of pop up, through RPGs where stats are important, especially whenever it comes to race being directly attributed to the culture that your character is. This article discusses a lot of role play as well. So they kind of get into like the role playing elements of World of Warcraft, which is not something that I have experience in, but I digress. So the cultural representation of the respective racial groups in WoW draws upon stereotypical imagery from real-world ethnic groups such as American Indian, Irish, Scottish, Asian, African, etc. I can't say I have ever considered it, to be honest, but I'm just a pleb. No, Layla, you're not a pleb. I think that is a fair sentiment for maybe plenty of people, because not everybody merges. Like, not everybody has or wants to put their free time stuff, the stuff that they do just for fun, whether it's movies, video games, or whatever, and like attribute elements of that to their real world stuff, right? Sometimes you use video games and whatnot to separate yourself. And like, so you don't want to think about how the X, Y, and Z race is potentially racist because you're like, I'm just trying to play a game. And maybe you love the character that has the lacking stats, but you've never really considered it to be a potentially harmful element of the game. And that's totally okay. Is very heavily present in Warhammer 40k. I'm not quite as familiar with Fantasy Warhammer, but I reckon it's similar, and I figure it's not very different from how it is in WoW. This also makes sense given what Warcraft was really originally inspired by. What was it originally inspired by? I don't know. I feel like a couple of Zelda games go into race. Do they? Ooh, that would be interesting to look into as well. The comparison of Zelda to WoW to other games. Yep, can't recall a game I played in which I was extremely invested in the lore. That makes sense too, Layla. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. WoW and stuff like this tend to have uh there was oh, I'm so sorry, Velka. I see. My apologies, but there's a lot of lore building. There's a lot of like story. So the story plays into this conversation. So here is one of the vanilla jokes that were made by the Blood Elves, which came in during the Burning Crusade. It was I believe it was the very first expansion. Maybe like Lord of the Rings. Oh, yes, absolutely. So Tolkien is like a huge influence on fantasy, World of Warcraft, D&D, etc. Yes, Layla. No, you're good. You're good. And also, you said you were resting. So if you're wanting to have this conversation with me, great. But if you don't want me to ask you questions so you don't have to respond, also let me know because I'll shut up. I'll stop asking. Fun thing about StarCraft is that it was originally meant to be a Warhammer 40K RTS, but Blizzard wanted more creative freedom, and as such, they backed out of the contract with Games Workshop. The influence is very noticeable, though interesting. Okay, and yes, I would venture to say that there are similarities. It is rooted in what all media is rooted, at least as far as I'm concerned and what I understand. It is rooted in what we know of life and how we are going to extrapolate it or apply it to our stories. Um, in this case, the Blood Elves were a Burning Crusade expansion race that came out shortly after the game World of Warcraft was released. And they were on the Horde's side. But they were a group of elves that did not necessarily have a lot of range in their skin tone. But as a race in the game, we're very haughty, very like pompous, and we'll kind of get into it a little bit later on in the article. But the quote says, "I went to," and this is from the game. Somebody wrote this into the game. I went to the Undercity to get a facial. Ha! Have you seen these people? I said, "You don't have a lower jaw, and you're giving me a facial." She got mad. At least I think she did. You ever heard someone talk without a lower jaw? Woo! And then mocks the sounds. She sounded like a murloc. I think it is fair to say that conflict in a video game between factions, between people, is not inherently negative, and it doesn't have to inherently be a bad thing. I do think that this example in particular is not the worst that could be made, but as we will kind of get into, the Undercity is full of undead humans. They were once humans, now they're undead. They went from being humans on the Alliance to being undead on the Horde. And there's like implications of the Horde being inherently bad compared to the Alliance being inherently good, but that conversation is like super convoluted. But that is sort of the vibe that then gets extrapolated into conversations around the trolls or the orcs or the humans. And so we'll keep going, but that's just sort of, I guess I'm just starting with that. And hi, Alex, welcome in. You made it. Let's go. We're getting there. We're weeding. How you doing today? We're just kind of going through little bits of this so that we get an idea of where my head was whenever I started exploring this topic. Um, so, um, just so everybody is aware, this article builds on the work of Alexander Galloway, who claims race in WoW is an immutable trait that the gamer has little control over, and the work of Tanner Higgin, who focuses on the racial privileging of whiteness in MMORPGs like WoW and EverQuest 2. So that's kind of what this whole topic is being built off of. In the real world, based on this title, race-based societies are those in which race is central to the organization of their social structure. This type of society can be most clearly seen in those that maintain widespread systems of institutionalized discrimination where political, economic, and social inequality are deeply entrenched in the ideology and practice of racial differentiation. Let me scroll down actually, because I said that we were going to read the conclusion as well because we read the abstract. So let's get into the conclusion really quickly because I don't think that it has a formal introduction. Um, so with that abstract, basically generalizing what would be discussed in this, the conclusion that this article has come to, let me scroll down, is WoW is but one MMORPG in a rapidly growing marketplace, which we've now seen as, years have passed, about 10 years or no, 5 years have passed. More research is needed to determine whether other games follow the same patterns demonstrated here. In an attempt to distinguish themselves from WoW, will new games move more freely, will push racial boundaries, or will they feel compelled to capitalize on a proven formula and emulate other successful race-based fantasy realms? Which I don't play a lot of MMORPGs like Final Fantasy, um was oh god, what was that game called? Destiny? Was Destiny an MMORPG? I'm not entirely sure, but as it relates to MMORPGs, I don't know how that has progressed over time. But the idea that, like, if we kind of go back a little bit and we read here, herein lies the danger. Players in WoW are encouraged to be the official strategy guide, or encouraged by the official strategy guide to go along with the flow via the role-playing strategy guide, and to be careful about making exceptions of racial attributes. Earlier in this article, it suggests that role-playing guide suggests, hey, it's okay to go outside the scope of what we have situated as the character design and what they would usually do, but don't go too far out of that, because if you start to, like, if you have a freaking human who loves an orc, then you are breaking our system and we don't want that. And so that was the argument that's being made there. They warned that if everyone made an exception, it wouldn't be unique anymore. Does that Oh my god, why am I having such a hard time reading today? Does not the very definition of unique imply making exceptions? Players are told, stick to the availability of possibilities within the WoW, World of Warcraft. There are so many great things possible, such as exploding sheep, dwarves, carrying guns, and more, that there is little reason to go beyond the possible. Exploding sheep and dwarves carrying guns aside, such mandates discourage critical evaluation of racial politics. Instead of being a place where participants are encouraged to go beyond the possible, WoW and other similar MMORPGs become part of an ever-expanding hegemony that oh my gosh, propagates racial mythologies. I don't understand why reading is so fucking difficult for me right now, but it absolutely is. With the spread of Asian MMOs like Final Fantasy and Guild Wars, it's interesting how this topic is covered there. True. Yeah, and so Alex, if you have experience at least with like Guild Wars or either of those, would you say that there has been an attempt to push the boundary of racial like traits, or because like I think with Baldur's Gate, if I think about Baldur's Gate 3, I think, well, no, because I think Baldur's Gate 3 even has like racial stats. And it's there, like, it's MMORPG's way of, like, I don't know. It's their way of trying to, like, show nuance in strength and intelligence of, like, a standard being. But using the term race becomes a tricky thing. Does not the very definition of unique imply making exceptions? Exactly. That's why that asterisk is in that role-playing guide. If everybody's super nobody is, yes. It's time to get smart. Yes, hungry. We're trying. I'm a little like frazzled for some reason. I don't know why, but I'm trying to get my bearings here. I think in large part it's because I'm intrigued by this topic, but I'm still figuring out what direction I'm moving with this topic. Has walked away from the term race. Have they really? So what do they use now? I remember it vaguely. We're learning together. We are learning together. You're right. You're right. We're learning together. Um, Species. Okay, and then that's where I guess I was also thinking about it, right? I was trying to think about the term, and the term is species. Because species lends itself to that conversation of different species have evolved in different ways. It can still sort of, if depending on how it's presented in the video game and the whatever, be detrimental, but species works, I think, better for sure. Contemporary biological research suggests that humans have not evolved in sufficient isolation from one another to qualify biologically as races, which that is, we understand that to be true. Skin color, which is what race is not it does not change how you are biologically the same as another human being. And have like similar biological traits about you. In practice, racial categorization is conducted by assigning meaning to physical differences in appearance, not by genetic testing. Scientific inquiry shows genetic differences between people are not connected to these outward arbitrary indicators of race, which is just that whole conversation on race in a general sense with humans. Sociologists and anthropologists generally concur that outward physical appearance is not a valid predictor of inherent human temperament, intellect, or behavior. However, in spite of this widespread academic agreement, contemporary folk biology, fed in part by mass media, persists in supporting an essentialist view on human nature. In fact, most people do behold the common sense but scientifically erroneous belief that race denotes an actual biological basis for group categorization and that these differences are forecasters of human behavior. So this is a bit more of a like sociological, psychological debate, I would say, like a debate of how people perceive things and like the way that they view the world. But like scientifically, it is not, race in human species does not dictate anything biologically. Culturally, which is something that we create within ourselves, can dictate human behavior, can have its, can not dictate, but can have its impressions on human behavior. But race itself does not. So the micro world of everyday experiences colludes with the macro world of social structure and institutions. There are some health predispositions that come from genetic side of certain ancestries, but I see the point they're trying to make. Yeah. But again, I think in I guess health dispositions does not equate, at least theoretically, it should not equate to race, because the race is I guess I see what you're saying as well, but yeah, they're essentially trying to say like race is not going to determine how smart somebody is. It exists in a perfect storm of self-fulfilling prophecy, creation of scapegoats, and institutionalized bigotry. And again, it's ancestry. Yes, ancestry. Specific racial ideologies meld with the historical socio-political context in which they are formed, which is that socio-political context, the culture, the way, the environment that somebody socially is grown up in, raised in. When people believe in the natural order of racialized relations, there is little reason to attempt to change that order. In fact, to do so would be futile. Antonio Gramsci's notion of hegemony is intrusive. Hegemony is a form of social control applied by the ruling classes that relies most heavily on manipulating ideology and manufacturing consent. By convincing the general public that the values and norms, customs, and traditions which benefit the dominant group, be it the bougie in the case of capitalism, men in the case of patriarchy, or whites in the case of Western race-based societies. Hi, Ricky, think you're paying your taxes. D&D dwarves that they play have all sorts of accents because guess what? They're parts of different cultures. Precisely! Which we'll get into how Vanilla WoW defined a bunch of things. Our good, right, and natural control is primarily maintained without the use of force. Instead, hegemony operates at the level of common sense in the assumptions we make about social life and on the terrain of things we accept as natural or the way things are. In a capitalist society, it may be taken as common sense that wealth is acquired through hard work and poverty through laziness. In a patriarchal society, it may be taken as common sense that women are more nurturing than men and thus make better caregivers. In a race-based society, it may be taken as common sense that skin pigmentation tells us something important about a person's innate character. Notions of common sense do not just spring forth from the abyss, nor do they reflect objective truths. They are, as Gramsci suggests, cultivated. Gramsci, yeah. Race-based societies cultivate, perpetuate, and reify the belief that the essential existence of race and racism by holding to the following 6 basic tenets. All right, so we have 6 tenets here that are laid out. First, they perceive designated racial groups as biologically discrete and exclusive groups, and certain physical characteristics such as skin color, hair texture, eye shape, and other facial features become markers of race status. They hold that races are naturally unequal and therefore must be ranked hierarchically. Inequality is fundamental to all racial systems. The study I chose, the subject doesn't jive with me. All this social stuff feels important, but I don't connect with it. No, absolutely, Alex. And I totally understand what you're saying. This is toss in some grammar, though. Yeah, I love this versus adding more grammar would probably fuck me up. But I totally understand what you mean. They assume that each race has distinctive cultural behaviors linked to their biology. They assume that both physical features and behavior are innate and inherited. They assume that the differences among races are therefore profound and unalterable. And they have racial classifications stipulated in the legal and social system, racial identity by law, etc., etc. So this can all vary. It's all nuanced, but that's essentially the crux of what their argument is as far as a race-based society. So now we kind of move into World of Warcraft in its general sense. It kind of touches on a couple of other games and race and how, like, if you think about Grand Theft Auto, if you think about, let's see, what games do they add here? Def Jam Vendetta, Ready to Rumble, Tenchu Dynasty Warriors, Crouching Tiger, Street Hoops, NBA Live. A bunch of different games have this kind of quality to them, or did at this point of the paper being written. Video and computer games rely heavily on racial and ethnic stereotyping by the most blatant kind, which is something that we saw a lot when some of us were kids, and what we don't necessarily see as prevalently now because there is definitely a paradigm shift. So I want to get into, okay, fantasy realms and race. So this is a really good point they're making, that not all games mimic the real world. So not all games are trying to one-for-one the real world. Although interesting enough, in WoW, there are different cultures within races, but there's no culture presenting differences. It's purely historically determined. There are different cultures within races. Yes, similar to what they've tried doing with, like, the trolls, right? But there's no culture presenting differences. Right. And even with the orcs, too, I've noticed. Yeah. Like wild dwarves have wild hammer dwarves, dark iron dwarves, etc. Ah, yes. Okay. I see what you're saying. Yeah, there are those cultural differences. Yeah, I guess so. But yeah, it is all historically driven. It is not, which can be argued that culture can be historically driven, but in the context of a game. And, like, I understand that video games are limited in what they can do, right? Like, it's a limited thing. But where WoW came from and where WoW hopefully is going is definitely a stark, like, it shows its age. Different languages, or at least dialects, same last name, same racial stereotypes. Yes. There's no variance outside of, like, almost title, and I guess to some degree physical attributes. So virtual fantasy and science fiction realms draw on the imagination of game developers for their inspiration. However, like their literary and cinematic predecessors, these do not mean they abandon the conventions of storytelling intended to enhance realism, which makes a lot of sense. Similarly, epic or high fantasy realms often draw on the folklore of medieval Europe for thematic setting, Language and sociopolitical infrastructure. The intertwining of recognizable cultural histories, epistemologies, and geographies encourage readers and gamers alike to suspend disbelief and accept the more fantastical elements of such stories. Hi, Auntie. Welcome in. No worries. You're not late at all. Among the more significant of these fantastical elements has been the development of unique breeds of creatures as extraterrestrials and other sentient beings. These beings are typically referred to as races. Typically, we are trying to, as Alex has mentioned, move away from the term, at least in certain capacities, but races have been used for that. And while the term race is often understood to be interchangeable with the term species, the very use of the word race rather than species is significant as it simultaneously draws upon and reinforces the preconceived notions of race-based society. This is the point where I can understand why people who aren't in anthropology, who find that trying to break down everything into ideologies and theories can be exhausting. I can understand why people at that capacity can be like, okay, we understand that we use this word instead of this word, but we meant the same thing. Whereas potentially you, Alex, I don't know if you feel similarly to this, but like language in and of itself, consciously or subconsciously, can have like an impact. And so like you saying to somebody, I like them versus I love them will change how somebody views something. And so, yeah, words matter. And so while it's like, yes, on the one hand, it's almost like, why is this a huge deal? Why should we care about this? Like, we mean species. We're saying race, but we mean species. But it's the way, it's like understanding how human brains also work. And like, we have given meaning to these symbols and these words for a reason. And so it is, on the one hand, fair to be like, well, I meant this and like allowing for that grace. But I think it's also very fair to be like, okay, you meant this, but your words have impact. Your words have power. They define things differently. And so I think that that's very interesting. And the unplayable races in WoW are a whole other can of worms. They needed to make playable races at least somewhat neutral, anthropolized in their portrayal, where somebody like centaurs, oh boy, yes. And I have never actively thought about that through the lens of anthropology, but that's frustrating to me as a person who wants to play species that are not humanoid. Like, I don't want to play, I would love to be able to play a fucking fish that can float out of water. And like, yes, to some degree, the fish has to do stuff that might like emulate how a human moves its hands, but like, I don't know. I think we're moving past a place where people and gamers and individuals who enjoy stuff like this need for the characters to emulate human physiology in order for us to want to engage with it. I think. Where they're the bad guy, so it doesn't matter. Yes, yes, yes. Which is also super frustrating, but I wanted the Naga to be a fucking race so badly. Yes, they have human hands, whatever, but like, how fucking sick. Anyway. Linguistically, this assists in constructing a reality where visible physiological differences underline aptitude and cultural development. Considered as a playable race for a long time. We're considered as a playable race. There's something that I find interesting in the whole race debate in that in Dutch, the word ras is both used as race as well as breed, as in breed of dogs. Like we're saying a dog is a certain race rather than it is being a certain breed. I think that gives the term race even more weight, if that makes sense. Yeah, Velka, it definitely can. That goes into, at least my understanding of it, right? My interpretation of this, that definitely goes into language in a way that like is far more complex than what we're even trying to dive into, but I completely agree. It is fundamentally the way in which people view language is relative to their experience. And many of us can agree that our experience with the term race, like it has for each of us a different connotation. It's not all the same connotation, but it is different connotations. And so like, I think in and of itself, that lends to the conversation. Centaur as a playable would have been so fun. That would have been so cool. Difference of somatic fields in the lexicon of a language, by the way. Yeah. Which I don't understand. But like even that does lend to the conversation, right? Because it is a matter of like the word is how we're going to perceive things. And so we are consciously in a westernized society with this game using the term or use the term race, which we all have a relationship with. So this also goes on to say the term race implies hierarchy and focuses on difference rather than equality and shared humanity. Some of the most popular science fiction and fantasy realms have been predicated on this or on such racialized creations. Gives examples. These creations may be unique in physical appearance. While they might be unique in physical appearance, critics suggest culturally they do not radically diverge from the stereotypical racial expectations of the timeframes into which they were born. Human race, also hi. I heard recently that the word race was used to perpetuate the segregation of African Americans back in the day. Makes sense if you believe we were all the same race. Yeah, it absolutely was used for that. It was used in a detrimental context to create a divide. Hello and welcome, Opium. While not specifically drawing on the notion of race-based societies, literary and cinematic critique suggests fictional realms are often grounded in allegory and stereotype, which project real-world bigotry onto fantasy races. Okay, so this occurs in three primary ways, as per this article. First, by fostering the belief in racial essentialism, which we talked about earlier. Here, knowing a character's race gives instant insight into their essential nature. So if you think about, like, a dwarf, based on your understanding of dwarves in fantasy contexts, you are potentially going to generate an idea, right? All members of and that's not for everyone per se, but that's just like what they're kind of discussing. All members of a particular race group are designed to share certain immutable qualities, including intellect, temperament, morality, strength, and honor. Again, I want to reiterate this article was written it was published in 2016, written I think in 2012. So we are talking about early stages, World of Warcraft, vanilla, and like that time period of fantasy. Kim summed this sentiment up when she wrote, "In The Lord of the Rings, to know Gimli would be to know all dwarves," which is a very interesting sentiment. The second major way fantasy realms reinforce the ideology, especially with the coming of Rings of Power, I have not watched it in totality, but I do not know if this rings true in Rings of Power. I'd be interested if anybody has watched it. Do the dwarves, because I know the dwarves kind of play a big role in that, don't they? Maybe. The second major way fantasy realms reinforce the ideology of race-based societies is by giving fictional races recognizable cultural traits associated with real-world races, in which this was the conversation we were having about with trolls. Hi, Sydney. Welcome in. How are you doing today? For instance, in the case of Narnia, Greg Easterbrook wrote, "There's no denying that Narnia is an Anglo-American's fantasy. The realm is forested and cool. Narnia and the North is a rallying cry and threatened by encroaching Southern cultures. The principal bad guys, the Calormenes, are unmistakable Muslim stand-ins, bearded desert dwellers who spread oil rather than butter on their bread. The sociological structure of Narnia is aristocratic and favors British imperialism." Narnia is not alone. What's the talk about trolls? Or are we getting in that? No, you're good, Lewis. So the troll conversation is what I sort of, what inspired me to have this conversation in the first place. Because I went to the Zandalari troll location, and I got the impression that there was not only African-based cultures being used there, but also South American, potentially based cultures. There was a conglomerate of sociopolitical and cultural identities being thrust into one character. But then when I walked outside, like the visuals of the location was beautiful, and like I love the characters. I love my troll. I love trolls. But I went out into the market area, and there was like a bazaar type setup where one individual was selling like voodoo trinkets, and it like, then I passed by another troll that was like, the title of it was like a Rastafari something or another, Rastafari troll guard, something like that. And it was just like, ooh, there's a lot to unpack, of course, but I have a bit on that as well. But I hear you. Yeah, Lewis. So I would love to hear what you have to say, because at the end of the day, I'm viewing this from like an outward perspective, not yet in the land itself, right? Not yet in the World of Warcraft, viewing it as its own entity. So that was kind of like the thought. Interesting enough, WoW is doing something different with these stereotypes. Dwarves are drunkards and greedy and dig mines, but they also switch to archaeology. Night elves are ancient and graceful and spiritual, but they also poorly implement aesthetic only. Japanese influence in the architecture, etc., etc. Yeah, something was mentioned about that soon. But it is interesting. And also, night elves, yeah, they are kind of doing a bit more, aren't they? Interesting. Okay. So we have also, just as a nod, and this sort of speaks to Layla's sentiment on like this tying in with Lord of the Rings. Several critics have noted similarity between real-world cultures and those populating Middle-earth in Tolkien's Lord of the Rings trilogy. Hobbits are said to represent an idealized version of rural, I hate that word, English culture. Dwarves have been likened to Jewish stereotypes in the Lord of the Rings novels and Scottish stereotypes in the film adaptations. And the Haradrim have been described as scimitar-wielding caricatures of Middle Easterners, noting much of the same trend, and again, lame word for it's stupid. I hate anyway. Noting much of the same trend, critics of the Star Trek franchise go on to say other things. So it's all very much showing you examples of how, even though not everybody was doing it, it's unfortunately, but also fortunately, the way that we create these worlds and these identities is like the only way we know how at the moment is to correlate them with stuff that people can understand and what we understand, right? And so they build off of already existing cultures and they implement them in different ways based on their own relative experiences. So has pushed against the idea that dwarves are Jewish stereotypes every time it was brought up. If I remember correctly. Interesting. And I didn't even hear about that. I didn't even know that. I genuinely thought that they were always just Scottish stereotypes. Okay, I think I also liked this sentiment. Let me read through some of this as well. Over and over again, it becomes plain that rather than rejecting real-world conventions of race-based societies, many fantasy realms have embraced essentialism, cultural allegory, and white supremacy. Fantasy and science fiction realms may, in fact, have more latitude to be blatantly stereotypical in their racial presentations than those creations professing to directly reflect reality. This is what one might call the Jar Jar Binks problem of fantasy representation. The more one seeks to extricate oneself from the mire of terrestrial stereotyping, the more free and flexible the bigotry machine becomes, able to repopulate one's racialized imagination with aliens, but aliens that conveniently still stick to the gangly comic relief of the blackface minstrel, complete with exaggerated facial features and a Jamaican accent. Something to contemplate, right? It might be a blood elf neo-Nazi situation where it was overtaken by racist interpretations. And Alex, we're going to get to that because that definitely is in here as well. So let's see. WoW is a high fantasy role-playing game inhabited. Oh, to those of you who don't know what WoW is a high fantasy role-playing game inhabited by a mixture of familiar Tolkien-esque characters with elves, dwarves, orcs. More races have come along, and unique creations of Blizzard Entertainment, Tauren and Draenei. Players select race-based avatars and enter the imaginary world of Azeroth, where they find themselves in the midst of an ongoing battle between two warring factions. As Lewis and I've mentioned, that has kind of progressed since this paper came out, but nevertheless, there is still that element. There are still two factions, so we're still dealing with that. Adventurers gain experience by killing monsters, vanquishing enemies, and completing quests. Space Goats, aka Draenei, have Russian accents. I have no clue, by the way. I also have no clue. Oh my god. Questing in particular is, hi Critical, welcome in. It's so good to have you here. Is designed to move the story forward while giving players glimpses of the history of Azeroth and its inhabitants. Racial selection in WoW plays an important part in character development by embodying players with a specific and distinct physical appearance, skill set, geography, and cultural legacy. In terms of racial roleplay, which again, I mentioned this article sort of leans itself into the conversation of role-playing in World of Warcraft as these racial characters. This means individual creativity is stifled because all the tangible details of gamic, race, the voice, the visage, the character animations, the racial abilities, etc., are quarantined in certain hard-coded mechanic behaviors. Critical, I hope you're having a really good day today. What? Why did it do that? It just messed up your whole name, Critical. That was weird. I was gonna say something and then I got distracted. It's all right. Came up with a new BBQ sauce. BBQ sauce. Let's go. Oh my god. BBQ baby. What does it taste like? Does it have honey in it? Blueberries? Tell me. Just made me want to reinstall. Haven't played since shortly after TWW launch. Maple, join the Discord, join my guild, get in there. Or don't. You don't have to if you don't want to. But we have a guild that we're going to be playing later on today. I'm just saying. But yes, I do. And like that. Side note, this is the conflict that I have within myself, right? Where it's like, I understand that there are definitely problems within the system, but like, I still enjoy playing the game. I have a raid in 50 minutes with WoW? Alex, I'm jealous! I'm trying to get to that level. I'm trying to get my guild there. Anyway, here, let me just show you guys this real quickly. Discord. Wow. I should do the thing soon, maybe. Okay, anyway. Burning Crusade. Looks like that's it. Already joined the Discord. Let's go, Maple. Let's fucking go. You're in. Let me get back into this. Let me focus up. When one sees a race called human within an MMORPG, it is westernized as well as white, with different shades of color for diversity, but nothing too black. A powerful assertion is made. This assertion is that humanity will only be understood within the fantasy world if it is primarily coded white. And that goes into this part right here, which says, focusing on the ways in which WoW privileges whiteness by equating being racially white with being genetically human and encoding the human race with Western European cultural markers, which it was also, if I remember correctly, Blood Elves also had predominantly pale skin with like the occasional like reddish hue. And like, while in the context of the world's lore, sense can be made of all of that, right? Fine. But in the conscious or subconscious realm of the term race being used for a video game, as we will see in just a little bit, people will walk away with this information and with an interpretation of it. And it's just very interesting. So, there's an interesting book called Tolkien's Ring that goes in far depth of how he created the stories and the major influences involved. Ooh. Did he really, Alex? That's cool. Hi, JD. Welcome in. So happy to have you here. Hermetic and alchemically influenced? But I would love to read it to know the extent of that. I'll have to look into it. Higgins' interpretation suggests that the fantasy realms created in MMORPGs follow the racialized formula of previously discussed cinematic and literary fantasy creations, in that being human means being racially white and culturally Western European, which is something that I recognized as well. Was he? So Layla's asking, do you think it's ethical to make sure to recognize the insensitivities within this type of media, but also still enjoying it? I struggle with this idea, like being able to appreciate the art without backing the artist or their beliefs, I guess. It's easy for me, but I know it's not appropriate to others. What's your take? Not sure if this is totally, no, it's totally relevant because that's exactly what's happening, right? Blizzard has like really taken some really shitty steps towards not only their employees, but also through the lens of their like creative endeavors. Like obviously we see vanilla was a product of its time, but still had like product of its time or not, it should have stepped out of that scope and done something better for the fantasy community and for the MMORPG community, but it didn't. And hopefully it's trying to make changes for the better. I think that I also struggle with that. I think right now where I stand with it is me, what I want is to be able to acknowledge the negatives. And if there's a way for me to help encourage people or help, like, even if it's just me adding my voice to the cacophony of voices that is saying, like, hey, some of this stuff isn't fucking great. We can change it though. I think that there's merit in that. And so there's a part of me that is hoping with our exploration of this together as a community where I'm learning stuff and you're learning stuff, we can come to a point where maybe we find ways together to be able to like we can find ways to communicate our what we don't like with these companies, with these organizations, and whether or not they listen to us, it's neither here nor there, but having that awareness I think is important. And I think that there is a world where you can enjoy the art of something. You can enjoy what that art did for you. I feel the same way for a lot of people as it relates to like J.K. Rowling and Harry Potter. Like Harry Potter changed a lot of people's lives and helped save a lot of people and made them like feel something. And so like that existed and that was real. And it can be heartbreaking, especially if you want to step away from that world. But like I think damning people for still having, I don't know, there's it's a very complex and nuanced thing, very relative to everybody's experience. But I would venture for myself to agree with you, Layla, that there are definitely some artists that I do not back anymore. I personally do not like purchasing or buying into Harry Potter memorabilia or any of that. I just don't want it. And there are other things that I feel the same way about based on what I've found out from the artist. But then there are other things that, like WoW, that I'm like, I take a lot of joy from this. This does something for me and within my community. Do I like every aspect of it? No. But I still enjoy like elements. And I give myself that grace, I guess, to be like, you know, I'm allowed to have all these different thoughts and opinions, and they can all coexist at the same time. I would have to think more on it, um, personally, but I think that's my initial impulse. Tomato, black garlic. Is that gochujang? I don't know what that is. Black cherry, apple cider vinegar, brown sugar, molasses, Worcestershire, tamari, smoked paprika, Kashmiri, red chili powder, onion, cumin, coriander. Critical, can you actually post that in the Discord? I think I remembered it all. You don't have to post the amounts that you put, but I want to try that. That sounds so good. I posted a few others here as well. Sounds good, Opium. That's happening very much with the, yes. Can speak to Blizz, past, current, future. Oh, I can't wait. Yes, I can't wait. I can't wait, Lewis. Exactly that. Or like Neil Gaiman and Coraline. Yes, Layla. Which I know has also struck me as well. And I know that it struck you. A good take I saw that I can get behind is kind of death of the author, but in the sense that nowadays any work you see has a lot of people's effort put into it. True. That's a really good point as well. Yes. Is a Korean hot pepper take? Oh, I love it. Thank you, Critical. What would you say the difference of steering from the Harry Potter franchise yet still accepting the fact? Respectfully curious. Yeah, what would you say the difference? The difference is my personal experience with it. I did not grow up with Harry Potter in the way that other people did. It does not capture me in the same way. So it is very easy for me to let that go. It is not as easy for me to let World of Warcraft go because of the enjoyment I get from it, because of what it does for like my friend groups and stuff. Yeah, the influence. And so that's not to say that that's the right answer. Absolutely not. But that is my answer right now. And that could definitely change. I I could eventually get to a place where I'm also like, nope, I don't want to do this anymore. It's too much for me and I have to walk away from it. But for right now, that's kind of where I'm at. And like, there is also this part of me that really just wants to better understand the issues with the thing I enjoy. If only, again, to just be fully in the know and like fully capable of saying, like, I know that these are the problems. I understand, and these are the steps that I would like to take to try and like resolve them. But if it's something out of my control, like I can own that, you know? Versus I think being put in a situation where you enjoy something, you put your heart into it, you like love it, and then all of a sudden somebody comes to you and say, "Did you know that that's fucked?" And then you're like having to wrestle with all these different complex emotions in the face of some like almost like in the public, kind of, I think. I don't know. It's unfortunate that it still financially supports the problematic people sometimes. Absolutely, Ricky. Absolutely. It's it's definitely difficult. And I think that's one of the really cool things about anthropology is that it is constantly asking people to ask questions, to dig deeper, to understand. But anthropology isn't necessarily saying that it has the right answer or it has the wrong answer. It is not necessarily saying that there is a right or a wrong answer. It is just saying that this is a thing that we see. And you take from it what you need. And we make changes as a community to the best of our ability. I just hope it doesn't become a thing of this looks too good, what's the catch? I think you won't find anything that's not problematic or will not become problematic down the road. Absolutely. These stories, these games, this media, it is all a product of people, of humanity, and people are not perfect. So I cannot consciously like I guess expect, even though sometimes maybe I do, but like expecting for this stuff to also be perfect is like almost like I don't know, it feels like it would make everything in life terrible. People suck. People do suck. I unrelated but related. I listened to Steve, the gentleman who did the Blues Clues, and like you guys have probably all seen him online, where he like sits and he just listens for a little bit, and he like lets people just like talk whatever. Um, but he was discussing how like in his line of work, where he was Blues Clues, the guy from Blues Clues, he either had to be like Mr. Rogers, perfect and wholesome and everything, you know, to what we saw, or he has to be this like crazy, outlandish, manic, druggy kind of person. There's like no middle ground sometimes for certain things. And he was like, I'm just a guy. I'm just a guy who has I'm trying to be a good guy, but I also have shitty stuff happening in my life. I like we're just people. We're just people being people. And I thought I saw something. Just with cultures always changing, even things okay now will not be okay later, vice versa. Yep, I agree. I agree. I agree. I agree. So let's keep going with this. So we have the methodology based on what they did, their approach to this, just peepholes being people. Okay. That got me. That I was like, what the fuck? No. This study is based on extensive observations recorded during nearly 4 years of playing WoW. The period began shortly after WoW was initially released in November 2004 and includes data from the first expanded content release in January 2007, continued through August 2008. Does not include analysis of data in the second expanded content release of 2008 in November, which is the Lich King. Researcher participation was primarily for the purpose of character advancement in order to gain access to higher level geographical locations and to more fully experience the sociopolitical world created by Blizzard Entertainment. Player interaction was excluded. Field notes were structured to highlight those aspects of gameplay relating to race and race-based societies where you have racial selection, physical appearance and attributes, implicit hierarchies, culture, language, technology, architecture, geography, and history. Oops. How did I get here? I clicked a link. Okay, two races, one human and one blood elf were advanced to the maximum level of 70, while it says one character from each race was advanced to level 25. This was because lower levels of gameplay are the most critical in establishing the lore of each in-game race. And then content from the game manuals, the WoW official website, and the official strategy guide were also considered in this research. So what they found is that at this point, there were 10 potential races, and race is a determinant of one's geographic starting point, physical appearance, skill set, talents, intellect, temperament, oh my god, career or their class, language, technology, and culture. My dream academic career is to list leveling 5 alts to 70 as methodology. That's what we're trying to do here, Alex. Alex, maybe we can work together to make something like that happen, because I just want to keep studying games in this way. This is fun. This is interesting. Maybe this information, I'm sorry, I didn't mean temperature. Maybe this information can become beneficial to these game developers. Larian, are you listening? Yes, Alex? Okay. Geographic separation. Anthropology paper on the social dynamics of a raid. Okay, wait. I do think that they had one. I do think that they have one. I saw it. I'll have to look into it to see what it actually entailed, but I did see one because I did do some more digging last night. I know, but like, it's good. It's good that it's out there, because that means that we can just continue to expand. We can find different ways to continue navigating this question. Oh my god. Okay. Geographic separation. 6 of the 10, we have a lot of raids. We do have a lot of raids. 6 of the 10 playable races in WoW begin the game geographically separated from the other races in starting cities, populated exclusively by their own kind. Okay, interestingly, dwarves and gnomes share a starting city, and so do orcs and trolls. However, even though these races begin in the same area, they could hardly be called fully integrated. Cold Ridge Valley is marked architecturally as a dwarven stronghold, and only has only 4 of its 30 non-player characters or NPC inhabitants being gnomes. Similarly, the Valley of Trials is disproportionately orcish, with only 4 of its 32 NPC inhabitants being trolls. Races of Azeroth developed in relative geographic isolation, only later coming together out of circumstances, accident, and necessity. Which I would love to, and Lewis, I don't know if you have this information, but I would love to know the beginnings of WoW lore. Because obviously we have a beginnings of hominins, and like we sort of are like trying to follow that all the way back. But what is like we kind of get into it a little bit that some of these groups are nomadic, but I wanna know. While the official game content studied for this project does not supply an in-depth creation myth, I want to know the creation myth. Thank you, Opium. There's a good catch-up YouTube video on that exactly. Really? Okay, good to know, good to know. Where do you want to start, creation or... Honestly, Lewis, creation. What do you mean, question mark? Creation. It does suggest that these groups happen upon each other well into their own cultural and biological development. The official WoW webpage reports the emergence of advancement of the Night Elves as follows. The reclusive Night Elves were the first race to awaken in the WoW. These shadowy immortal beings were the first to study magic and let it loose through the world nearly 10,000 years before Warcraft 1. The Night Elves' reckless use of magic drew the Burning Legion into the world and led to a catastrophic war between the two titanic races. The Night Elves barely managed to banish the Legion from the world, but their wondrous homeland was shattered and drowned by the sea. Until recently, the Night Elves closed themselves off from the rest of the world and remained hidden atop their holy mountain of Hyjal. For many thousand years. Ooh! The Legion's invasion brought the Night Elves out of their long period of slumber. They now have renewed interest in shaping the world, and for the first time are allying themselves with other races to ensure the continued survival of Azeroth. Sort of! Thank you, Lewis. Sort of. We're at some point gonna get Lewis on the pod to talk about World of Warcraft. Auntie, I hope you're ready. Okay, so I want to get to the point. Let me see. So dwarves are also described as reclusive, spending much of their history cut off from the other creatures of Azeroth, and in-game voiceover informs players that the stoic dwarves of Ironforge spent countless generations mining treasures from deep within the earth, hidden within their impregnable stronghold of the iron. Oh, do you guys remember this? Of Ironforge. They rarely ventured beyond the wintry peaks of Dunmorrow. The undead were racially human until a plague swept through their villages and turned them into the creatures they are today. I can hear the voice. So for protection, the undead established their own separate society, hidden far beneath the ruined capital Lordaeron. Orcs originated on another world altogether. The Draenei also hail from another dimension. It is less clear how segregated from other races humans, Taurens, trolls, and gnomes have been. Geographic separation helps maintain the mythos of racial purity by supporting the notion that a race group must evolve in enough isolation that it never or rarely mated with individuals outside its borders. Which again, race and species is interchangeable in the minds, or like in the ideology of video games, but the language is... FYI, trolls are the evolution of non-slumbered elves. Really? But like, why are they... Oh, I need to know more. Fantasy realms are often populated with crossbred creatures. So this is one of those conversations that I kind of brought up last time we talked about this, where many of the fantasy realms have the potentiality for half orc, half elves. Basically, if you're going to have these races be separate, they can also cross, but WoW, with its own limitations based on mechanics, doesn't let that happen, right? So, in the game, each race bears fixed characteristics that unmistakably mark its genetic history. The voice actor who did the voice over those entry texts, as well as the Wrath of the Lich King cinematic, also voiced the audio for some state exams here. Wait, I was in classes and stuff, and all I could hear was, "My son, when you were born, the very force of Lordaeron whispered the name." Oh, that's... Yes! I love it. I love it. That is so fucking fun. So, genetic history, right? It's all fixed based on the, based on the race within the game. So, to this point, in WoW, the lack of visible crossbred creatures serves to reinforce this mythology. Here, even a night elf would have trouble passing as a blood elf, as there are no ambiguity in the telltale characteristics of height, skin pigmentation, girth, and ear length. Each race bears fixed characteristics that unmistakably mark its genetic history, where all orcs are the average height, have sharp tusks protruding from their lower jaw, have a shade of green skin, and muscular bodies. All gnomes are diminutive in stature, resembling small humans, have large heads, and 4 fingers on each hand. There's no real deviation from these racial traits outside of what we have seen recently, which are very slight deviations, but nevertheless deviations, where we have the, like, Zandalari trolls versus the Darkspear trolls. This is not to say that all characteristics within a race group look exactly alike. The races of WoW are sexually dimorphic creations, meaning that sex in the game is different between the two. There are breasts, there are, for the troll is like leaned over versus the female version standing up. Okay, so there's barely any overlap, right? Innate physical, temperamental, and behavioral characteristics. So each race also begins the game with what Blizzard Entertainment calls racial traits that are inherent bonuses to such characteristics as gathering and crafting skills, weapon specializations, resistance to elemental damage, intellect, diplomacy, spirit, and so on. These traits predispose the various racial groups towards specific class selections and crafting professions. Temperament and personality are also connected to biology in the sense of this game. Alpha version female trolls were something else. I think I remember them. Yes, because I think that was what my first character was. For instance, the official strategy guide described dwarves as stoic, fearless, and stalwart, Taurens as noble, patient, and resourceful, gnomes as excitable with an innate curiosity for anything mechanical, humans as a proud, tenacious race, and trolls as vicious, cruel, and fierce. In accordance with the erroneous assumptions of race-based societies, ethnicity in the World of Warcraft, sorry, I keep saying that, is constructed as a biological imperative. Unlike in the real world, each race is connected to its own distinct culture, largely untouched by the forces of assimilation. There is little chance of mistaking one subculture for another. Even races that live among one another appear to be no more amalgamated than those that are geographically segregated. Within larger capital cities, ethnic and enclaves accommodate cultural diversity while maintaining tight ethnic boundaries. And this is that comment that I made the other day where it's like, the Valley of the Spirits within the orc city of Orgrimmar has the look and feel of the troll village, but if you wander just outside of those sections, a player is instantly back within the city's dominant culture. So there's a dominant culture, and then very little merging of cultures seems to be happening. As far as in-game culture, not necessarily real-world culture being thrown together. Nikki on one tab, Siri on the other. Critical. I saw Siri is playing freaking Repo. Best day. Siri's amazing. I hope you're having a lot of fun, Critical. In the case of language, the inability to accommodate a more integrated cultural diversity has rendered the warring factions of the Alliance and the Horde literally unable to communicate with one another. This is back whenever they could not. Whatever. However, within each faction, races have adopted a single language with which to communicate across groups. Common, which is the native tongue of humanity for the Alliance and the Orcish of the Horde. All races except humans and orcs are bilingual. When placed within a contemporary sociopolitical context, this is not seen as a shortcoming on the part of humans or orcs, but instead as a sign of cultural power and dominance. Or as one poster on the WoW message board put it, is English the most spoken language in the world? No. But is Chinese the language of global business? No, it's English. Humans have the power not to speak like gnomes. Which is, again, one of those interesting concepts that even I didn't necessarily think about whenever I was playing the game. But there's a leg for that to stand on, right? Where it is, and there's a leg for that to stand on because I have a slight experience of it within my own familial like heritage. Hi, Jiner. I am a nerd, you're right. How are you doing today, Jiner? Go finally, Jiner. Thank you, Critical. Where like speaking Spanish and having Spanish and English under your belt was kind of frowned upon within like my mom's generation and my generation. So my mom didn't teach me because it was more beneficial for me to just know English than for me at the time to know English and Spanish. Because obviously when you have huge tusks that stick out of your mouth, you'd make the same sounds as somebody who doesn't. Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It would make so much sense. I'm doing good cleaning the house with the Goros. Let's go. I hope you guys are having fun listening to music, cleaning everything up. I watched Layla's like mini vlog on TikTok the other day, and I love her. I love her voice. I love everything about it. It was different in my house. They figured more language, more value, critical, and I love that. And I wanted that, or I want that now. I didn't really want it when I was a kid, but yeah, we were in like just that sort of state. So she loves making them, and I love seeing them. I love seeing them. Please let her know that I said that. Thank you. I hope you're having the best time. So we kind of go on. Nowhere is this more apparent than with the Tauren. As natural warrior herbalists, the Tauren are immersed in a culture that looks distinctly Native American. Taurens occupy the mesas and the plains of Azeroth. They live in teepees and longhouses. NPCs have names such as Stonehoof, Cloudseer, Windhawk, and Mistrunner. Cities with names like Thunderbluff, Bloodhoof Village, and Freewind Post are filled with colorful painted totem poles, dream catchers, stretched animal skins, canoes, kilns, hand-woven baskets, ceremonial drums, and tapestries. Official game lore suggests Taurens are a nomadic people and describe them as tribes with a communal nature. The section on role-playing tips in the official strategy guide said that the Taurens are a deeply spiritual people and call upon the power of the great spirits of their past as well as use shamanic powers. But, and then we go into the troll culture. I'm not from a very language-rich family, but I have grown up with a heavy English-speaking influence of the internet and poorly dubbed movies, and so are a lot of others from my generation, which I love. My experience within my own like family unit and then my own like social circles was that Spanish, especially Puerto Rican Spanish, which is a little bit more like Spanglish. It's this mix of Spanish and English all the time is seen as like lesser than, and so then you don't want to speak it because then you're going to get made fun of, and it becomes like a point of contention. And so uh not speaking it, even in my own head when I was a kid, made me better because I was speaking the dominant language of English, which is really unfortunate. It's really sad. But like that is how and it wasn't influenced by the game, but that is how those influences can be perceived whenever you see them in a video game as well. Puerto Rico, baby. Indeed, Ricky. Troll culture appears to be a slightly more complex, if not more offensive, amalgamation of Rastafarian, Jamaican, African ethnic traditions. Upon entering the game as a newly created troll, players are informed the vicious trolls that populate the numerous jungle isles of the South Seas are renowned for their cruelty and dark mysticism, which it doesn't feel, I don't know. Mm-hmm. You'd learn Russian because this is the dominant language of the region. Because it's the lingua. Yeah. Oh, how interesting. Because English was the lingua franca here, even though we had a pretty heavy population of Spanish-speaking people, I still didn't learn it. I always understood it as being the common tongue, which doesn't necessarily mean English. Yeah, but in like a video game context, it kind of does. At least in this video game. Okay, but this is it's treated the same way. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Actual magic exists could be very interesting. Yep. So that is like the interpretation of the troll culture. Upon entering the game, you're told all this information. Troll villages are decorated with humanoid skulls both on pikes and in small piles, African-style masks, cauldrons, witch doctors, and spears, while the sound of drums beat in the background. NPCs are frequently found squatting on the ground or engaging in capoeira-style dances, which my understanding of capoeira might have its roots in African ethnic traditions, but I've also seen it, and I guess that would make sense, but I've also seen it in Brazilian communities, which I think that there's like this, okay, critical, so it is, but it's lots of overlap in culture, which makes a lot of sense, which can be a good thing if it's implemented in an appropriate way, which I'm this article and then other articles tend to lean on it not being, right? Because if it's one thing to be like, all of these cultures, all these traditions, all these ideologies are coming together to create the trolls, which is super rad, but then they tether it with the vicious trolls, and they tether it with kind of a like misinterpretation or not a well-interpreted version of their spirituality, which you end up seeing as voodoo, at least in certain parts, right? And so they even talk about voodoo. I mentioned earlier in the Zandalari location, there's also like, there's a cellar that has these like voodoo, what is it called? I can't think of the word right now. Orientalism, basically, yeah. So that's, I think, the more or less the argument that's being made here, is that it's like the overlap is fine. The overlap can be okay, as long as it's not going to be depicted negatively. And that's outside the scope of like the whole conversation of culture and race being one and the same. One of the comments that I don't know if they still say it, but one of the comments that the trolls used to be able to say was, "If cannibalism be wrong, I don't want to be right." And then Blood Elf characters joke, "So I went to this troll spa the other day and I wound up with dreadlocks and a friggin' bone in my nose." I mean, come on, who pays for that? Official game lore describes trolls as vicious, barbarous, and superstitious. Such characterizations The overlap has less than desirable roots, but end result is a positive blending of acceptance of cultures. Oh, interesting, Critical. Oh, I do not know anything about that, but I am now intrigued. Thank you for bringing that insight, because I did not know that. WoW dwarves. Okay, so all of this stuff. Yep. Humans have adopted. Okay, so yeah, it just kind of goes on because I'm kind of getting a little bit tired of reading all of this. I think Lewis probably wanted to maybe pin your other comment, but then pin the yup comment. I'm not sure, Lewis. You pinned a comment, just so you know. It's okay. But I wanted to get to this part here because it goes into dwarves, the stereotypes of dwarves. It goes into humans and how they're really perceived as the Western European culture, and they have this element of like just they are higher up in the hierarchical sense. But then we get here to where is it? The Blood Elves. So the Blood Elves have adopted a Middle Eastern flair, elaborately curved entryways, long flowing silky curtains, a deep red and blue color scheme, hookah pipes, lamps, and magical brooms sweeping the pathways, which gives this land a notable Walt Disney's Aladdin feel. Which is like, I loved the world that was created for the Blood Elves because it was stunning. It was beautiful. It was rich. But then, much of what the Blood Elves have to say reflects an arrogant superiority and disdain for other races, which is aptly conveyed through bigoted jokes and a haughty demeanor, which they still sort of have. Along with the phoenix adorning their flag and large draping red banners lining the streets, these neo-Nazi cues have led many of the WoW forums to read the Blood Elves as Germanic rather than Arabic. This view is supported on the white supremacist website Stormfront, this website, where posters cite light skin, beauty, height, superior intellect, and cleanliness as indicators of the Blood Elf's Aryan background. And so we'll read these, but this was kind of the sentiment, something that I brought up the other day as well, which is like, violent video games do not make violent people, but it definitely can be influential. Depending on the individual, right? It's a very relative experience. And so if you find a piece of media that speaks to your ideals and represents what you see as a reality, there can be a level of influence that comes into play with that for a variety of reasons, but that is something that can happen. And so that is why it is important to use certain words. It is important to be intentional about your use of words and your use of visuals and your use of everything else when it comes to these sorts of contexts, right? When you're maybe making media or a video game or something to that effect. A certain type of person may embrace certain things more than others, negative or otherwise. Yeah, it's just the fact that it's influenced. And so these are the 3 comments that were made from the that website. Blood Elves are very European. The Aryan Blood Elves are the only race on the Horde side that is smart enough to be a paladin. So you see, even in fantasy, it shows that the white culture is superior to other mud cultures. I never bought the extension, so could not play a Blood Elf, but I do agree they are extremely Aryan looking and the most attractive race in the game, in my opinion. They must be geniuses behind the Horde, for as someone earlier mentioned, the orcs, trolls, and taurens are dumb as rocks. Which also lends itself to our conversation that we have talked about many, many times about racism whenever we are talking about ancient civilizations. Thinking that ancient civilizations cannot and did not come up with the technologies that they did is an inherently racist opinion and approach. And like attributing it to aliens, attributing it to another, in a video game, another race or species, is stripping the intellect, the brilliance of our ancestors that came before us. And so this is just kind of reinforcing that that is a thought that people have had and that people may still have today. I'm interested in how much this prognostic point of view for humans is one, textually based. Alliance are the good guys. Humans are the main guys in the Alliance. But two, how much time was dedicated to making human zones compared to horde zones? I know that a lot of time went into Elwyn, Redridge, Duskwood, Westfall, human starting zones, and it shows, yup. Ancient Aliens stems from the Aryan procession of Nazi Germany. Yeah. And we've talked about it before. We've gone into it. Believing in aliens is not the issue. The issue is attributing aliens to the progress of people. I can't figure out why the technologically superior alliance with all that gnome technology, guns, paladins, etc. can't wipe the I don't even know what that word is, horde off the face of that world. It has to be those European-looking blood elves. They must be the true master race of the horde, as it couldn't be the orcs. The groids? I don't know what that word means. Of Warcraft. So, all three sentiments, not good. But all three sentiments stemming from beliefs that people have. Here, ethnicity is being interpreted through a filter of racial imperialism. Blood elves are viewed as culturally superior, therefore they must be Aryan. All evidence to the contrary is ignored in order to maintain this illusion that aligns with real-life assumptions of racial whatever. Lower humans, thank you so much, Alec. And hi, Rainy, thank you for the lyric, and thank you for paying your taxes. I love you. This is not everybody. This is not everybody's thoughts. This is not everybody's opinions. This is just one subsect of the internet, a small little group who have this opinion, but it is applicable to this conversation. Nazi theory terminology, okay. And then we have variation within the human race. So, in WoW, players have the ability to select skin pigmentation, but facial features and hair texture remain static. In the case of humanity, these default features are distinctly Caucasian. WoW is not alone in this. Avatars of color are given fewer options, and players are often left feeling as though they are merely playing white characters with dark skin, which I think I've heard as well in other games. Well, okay, and then it also kind of went into measuring to some degree how many people play light-skinned characters versus dark-skinned characters. And then we also get into a little bit of racial role-playing, which again, we talked about it earlier. There's a huge sense of limitation on it, being like, you can definitely go outside the bubble, but not too far. Don't pop the bubble. And then we kind of get back onto our conclusion. But if your beliefs are your own, aliens, for example, is someone unethical for having their own belief? Just playing devil's advocate. The harm may be there just the same, sure. But is that person wrong for thinking that the seeds of evolution were put here by a more intelligent life form? Hypothetical, theological scenario. I think from my own personal perspective and vantage point, I think that it is incorrect and it's wrong to think that the seeds of evolution were put here by a more intelligent life form. Yes. I think it is wrong to do that in the same way it would be wrong for those individuals to go to their job, to do an exceptionally good job and to have their coworker be given the promotion, because it is perceived that they did the work. I think that, again, it's all very hypothetical and whatnot. I think having your own beliefs is fine so long as they're not hurting other people. Because that makes sense, doesn't it? Doesn't it make sense not to want to hurt people, I guess, in my own moral and ethical ideology? And so I guess, yeah, from that perspective, it would be, you are hurting a group of people. You are hurting
just subscribed.
The potentiality of, hold on, let me, Maple, thank you so much. 30 more days after experience. I really appreciate you. I'm not going to get too much into this, but I really do appreciate you. You also get to be a duck now. Maybe. When you type next. But I appreciate it. Thank you so much for the sub. Happy to have you here. It gets deep and dark into the mysticism and influences of Madame and the chasing of ancient relics. That's not about the seeds of evolution, though. It's about the idea that what's been achieved by well-formed ancient cultures could not have been achieved by them for yes, and that's effectively the issue that I would take with it. It's that you are stripping somebody of you're stripping a group of people of their successes. No, opium. I do not think that. I do not think that there are advanced races that have shared influence with our progress. I think um my stance is that I am willing to have my opinion change so long as like it is proven, like there is there's evidence of it. But until then, I am going to lean on the evidence that I find, which is we have no other explanation for anything outside of these people have done these things themselves. Personally, based on my own beliefs, archaeological finds, etc., etc. But one who gives a certain plausibility to that would argue that their right to basic human rights is being violated. Which violation is worse? When you say that their basic human rights to believe something critical, is that what you mean? Just so I understand what you mean by that. People, happy to have you here. Thank you again. And we kind of already went over the conclusion stuff a little bit. So we won't necessarily get into this. Again, this is like the older content. This is the vanilla content. It's not necessarily to say that it has or hasn't changed. I think it has, but that's just the older content. We're not going to read this, but I just thought it was interesting to believe without persecution. Okay. So I guess in that way, it's like you can believe whatever you want to believe, but when you start acting on the beliefs and those actions start to hurt people, that becomes the problem. And so if like the people who believe aliens created the pyramids, when they start talking about it and spreading this misinformation, the harm that it does is that the people who are ancestors of those cultures, those like beliefs, those whatever, like it lessens their participation in humanity's cultivation. And like trying to find and outsource those answers because one's own personal perception of a group of people is biased and like I don't know, I guess bias is the only word that I can use. It just feels like a negative action. And so like having the thought is fine. If you think it and believe it is fine. Do I wish you didn't? Not you personally, but like people who do, yes. But then acting upon it and trying to spread it as if that is the only factual information when there's no, like the only evidence being created for that is evidence that is confirmation bias. It is not actualized evidence. That's where I take issue with it, I guess. To believe that persecution, yeah. There have been way more contact between ancient cultures than we assume, though. Yeah, I think it does more harm to the validity of historical science. Yeah, racism in Warcraft, what a place to pop in. Tanjiro High, yes. It is, it's the conversation we've been having today. It's an interesting conversation to have as it relates to video games. I don't believe it either. I'm just, no, I know you don't, Critical. I'm just arguing there's a certain level of righteousness to it. Yes, I do agree with that. You can't put historical and religious culture on a scale and say one is more important than the other, because they kind of all happen all at once. I think I would agree with that, but on a level, or on my brain has not been braining this entire time. In the face of proof, if there is no proof, then like it's hard for me to then align myself with it. I'm all about objectivity, but objectively ethical equality is ethical ethical equality is ethical equity. Yeah, and while I can it's a complex thing, and like I don't think that there is a right or a wrong answer in an objective sense. I do think that I have a very subjective right and wrong, but yeah, I agree. It is incredibly nuanced, and it's a complex conversation that I don't think that I could do justice to right now, as much as I would love to. Um, but it is nuanced, and I do think that there can be a sense of righteousness perceived in the perception that I presented. Um, do I think that it's wrong? No, but I think some people could see it as righteous. Yes. Ethics always is. Yeah. But yeah. And so it's just super nuanced. It's super complex. And I really appreciate everybody's contribution to that because I enjoy having the sort of challenging elements come through. All people are human and therefore have equal, immeasurable, irreplaceable human value. Done. Go next. Done. Next. Beep. Or where's the discrepancy? No, the discrepancy is like the conversation was predominantly just uh believing there was a lot actually to the conversation. But yes, ultimately we've come to a point where it's just like everybody's going to have their own opinions about things. Everyone's going to have their own feelings about stuff, and then there's also going to be fact and truth that can be ever evolving as well. So at the end of the day, though, when it comes to humans and anthropology and misinformation, I will probably always lean towards people have the capacity to do the things that they did. So it is wrong and unethical to outsource it to something or someone else. So there we go. Thank you, Critical. I couldn't word that well. Hi, Dr. Brockman. What's going all sorts of on in here? We're talking about World of Warcraft. And we're talking about race and culture. Essentialism, we just sort of went over it a little bit. It's kind of a lot. It's kind of a lot. But yeah, it is yeah. That's where we're at right now, babes. Just because you believe something true doesn't make it so, but also just because you believe something is not true doesn't make it so. And I kind of agree with that. There are, again, everything is very nuanced even within that, but it's like just intellect. Yeah. No attack, just intellect. Okay, off to raid. Have fun, Alex. Enjoy. Thank you so much for joining the conversation today. I was playing devil's advocate. Yes. I just got here today, so not to nitpick on terms, but what if truth can't evolve because truth is immutable and in its final form state since the beginning of time? It's just our perception and understanding of truth that can evolve over time. Potentially, Tanjiro. Potentially. But I think that is a state of it is a state of relative perception, I think, where what you're talking about. Because that is how you potentially are perceiving how reality works and functions. Whereas somebody else, like me, can see that the truth is mutable. But yes. Like I guess it's like I feel the same way, but I view it differently. And so it's not and when we're talking about that science, yes, we could go on about all day, absolutely, because it's one of those things that everybody has a different opinion on. But we're talking about science and we're talking about scientific things, yes. But the argument then, yes, that's it. Period. We'll be discussing the corrupted blood incident. We can. This is pretty much what science is. Yeah, this is something. Yeah, if truth predates you, then it's our perception of understanding. And Tanjiro, no argument from me outside of actually no argument at all. I just do not think that I have the means to be able to contribute to that outside the scope of what I just said. But it is very much like a state of perception, I think, at least to some degree. It's not to say that you're wrong, and it's not to say that I'm wrong or right, but I think it is like a perception of how truth evolves. Oh my god, Tanjiro, my brain. My brain. You gave my brain. You guys are giving my brain a workout. Yeah, Dr. Broctopus. It's you guys, you know what? I think you guys should have this conversation and I'm gonna read what you guys say. Cause I think you guys are smart as fuck and I like listening to you guys talk. You know what? I'm gonna hydrate my brain, you're right. Because if objective truth exists, well, it's objective. True. That depends on definition of truth. I think most folks would agree that our idea of truth is tied to our currently available information. And Mabel, I think that is sort of where I fall. What are we talking about, Dr. Broctopus? What do you want to talk about? Oh, thank you, Critical. And I love the conversation, but I do feel a little bit like my brain is a little slow. At least today. Anything you want. What do you want to talk about? What is true for one doesn't mean it is fact, though you may believe it as such. Everybody is going to have their ultimate opinions on stuff. And we're kind of going into a realm that is like parallel, but separate from the conversation that we were having. But we're kind of like extrapolating a bit. Eat paste, gross. So I'm just going to read the titles of this and maybe we can just kind of explore we could talk about what we think about the titles. And then I will be posting these links in the Discord if you want to read further into the articles themselves. But this first one says the virtual geography of racial segregation, exploring racialization, stereotypes, and tropes in the World of Warcraft. So as we sort of mentioned in the previous one, this is a conversation on how separating the races, which we kind of loosely discussed can be synonymous with species in World of Warcraft, could lend itself to the conversation of like racism and these different tropes that are created, right? And we see them in World of Warcraft. And I think what we'll do is we'll hop into the game soon and I'll just kind of fly around. And we'll just fucking fly around and we'll see just like I'll show you guys the Zandalari place and we'll kind of see how these imaginary lines are drawn out. And maybe in time, if I can like wrap my brain around everything that I'm thinking about with this, I can find parallels with life to show like how these correlate. But segregation between Horde and Alliance or between both. So there is the segregation between Horde and Alliance as in how people view the Alliance versus how people view the Horde based on the information given to them by Blizzard Entertainment, like how the story was told, how it was delivered, but then also segregation of these races geographically to one another, right? Because you have the Blood Elves who are in this beautiful, amazingly talented, crazy technological place where even though they're kind of like dealing with the sickness of addiction, they have so much technology, but they're also identified as being very light-skinned and arrogant and above everybody else. Whereas you have the trolls who are separated into a completely different section, or the orcs that are separated, and like their landscapes are a little bit more the term I'm using is primitive, but for lack of a better term right now. And like their technologies are different and like so it's both, I think. But our perception is all we have. If we want to say there's some unevolving, immutable truth to the universe that we're finding bits and pieces of as we go, then sure. But I don't think most people think. Yeah, and I think that that's it. There are people, and Tanjiro, maybe you align with this, where there are people who believe there's the immutable truths that we are slowly finding, and then there are people who have the perception otherwise, or a different one, just a different one. Red is the only correct answer. Something acidic to wash the paste down. Oh my god. I think Thunderbluff is a solid example of that. Yeah. A man of pure, unabashed taste. Oh my god, I love having this. Our perception is our first order of interaction, yes, and it's fallible. Sometimes all signs point to something, and then we find out we were wildly wrong in our perception. If most people don't make that distinction, I'm at least going to always allow for the existence of objective truth. And that's fair. That's fair. If most people don't make that distinction, then they're avoiding the logical existence of it, at least in the theoretical domain. Yeah. And I think I'm also one of the people, and Critical and I have actually talked about this a little bit as well, where there are people who are the science people who have this objective truth. Like, this is the true thing. This is the thing that we have found to be true, and there's no disputing it, right? And maybe, please correct me if I'm wrong. But then there's people a little bit like me who's like, yes, we found this objective truth. But also maybe there's room for like it not being the objective truth. And also maybe there's also this other thing. And also maybe there's also differences. I don't know. And so it's like I am of the opinion that I am willing to be a little bit more malleable. And I will not always make room for an objective truth, whereas some people will. And sometimes it's just a matter of like, and I forget how one of my professors put it, but it was like, there's like the hard truths and then the soft truths or some shit like that. Yeah, I always just preface things with based on all of the information we currently have or something like that. I do as well. Kind of sums up our friendship. Yes, I agree. I agree. Gravity exists and always has so long as matter has existed because gravity is a direct ramification and byproduct of physical matter. Yes. But also, I thought I heard someone say that gravity doesn't exist somewhere. Yeah, I won't argue on those points just because I don't necessarily like I won't have a firm place like stance to take on it, and so my argument will crumble into dust. But I see where you're coming from, Tanjiro. I really do. It's true. And that's why you guys have me. Because we can't prove. Yeah. But even laws, baby, fucking smash them. Break a law over your knee. Anyway. So that's one of the articles. And also, I've been doing this to you guys subconsciously. Tell me how you feel about this shit. Or does it, Tinge? I'm just kidding. Yeah, it probably does. You're right. I've been doing something to you guys. We've been listening to music from World of Warcraft. Dehumanization through sound, musical representation of fantastic cultures in the World of Warcraft. Let me do a little reading for you guys, okay? Good morning, Krypton. How the fuck are you doing today? We all naturally gravitate towards Nikki Matsuma. I love you. Thank you. You guys are sweet beans. Hi Kai. What's good, homie? How you doing? Okay, real quick, we're gonna get into this. What do you guys think about dehumanization through sound, musical representation of fantastic cultures of World of Warcraft? I'm gonna read it. During the last decade, video game music has experienced a notable. If gravity pulls us toward the earth, wouldn't we all be shorter? Sorry, I had to. Maybe. Sorry, I'll read slower. Quick hello before I start driving. MJ, drive safely. We love you to bits. Have a wonderful Sunday. Nikki, I've been dancing. Oh, do you not have water still? I've been dancing for the last 2 hours and a half. Oh my god, do your legs feel so tired? Do you feel strong? You calling Nikki heavy? Because the heavier things and the more gravity they have. I am though. I'm pretty heavy. I'm like a lump on a log. The human singularity. Imagine. I would hate that. No offense. I love you guys, but let me finish. Notable improvement in terms of academic consideration. Nevertheless, there is still scarce research that applies an ethnomusicological approach for analyzing and connecting aspects of sound and culture in video games. Furthermore, the complex processes of globalization and homogenization, undoubtedly more extreme every day, affect its creative strategies and reception. Understanding that video games are mainly governed by a principle of fiction, and that all fiction can be analyzed as an alteration of reality. In this chapter, we will outline a methodological approach to understanding how fantastic cultures are solidly represented in an amalgamation of truncated elements of real cultures. We will also show how this compositional practice, probably unconscious, translates into a line of dehumanization that tends to use Western sounds for the good guys and music from non-Western cultures for non-human creatures, sometimes evil. The music of World of Warcraft does not withdraw from this conception and integrates fragments of very diverse cultures whose disposition hints at the cultural and ideological background in which creators, both composers and developers, as well as gamers, are immersed. This work aims to deepen the musical and sonic representation of the various roles and characters in the World of Warcraft to reflect on the relationships between culture and fantasy. Thoughts? I don't like large groups of people. Yeah. No singularity. Get the fuck away from me. Yeah. At least until I've had my nap and my chocolate chip cookies. I'd hate that too. Yes, and this is precisely why you're slightly taller in the morning after having gravity pull you down. Gravity. What are your thoughts? Explain. Gravity, the weakest and strongest in the universe. We can withstand gravity just by lifting up our foot, and gravity can bend and distort light. We're so strong. Welcome back, Kai. How's your leggies doing? What if you just elongate while resting and then upward stance and posture lessens the lesson? So I think this is also just an interesting conversation to have as well. And it's something to think about while you're playing your video games, okay? If you're playing a video game and you're going towards an area that has an enemy force, if the enemy force is not white human, but something else entirely, listen to the music. What is the music trying to tell you? What is the music communicating to you, you know? And all of this is once again to say, like, it is not to necessarily condemn anyone for playing a game or enjoying certain kind of content, right? It is also not to condone it either. It is just to say, hey, you are an active participant in something. You're an active participant in life. You're an active participant in a video game. Maybe there's something you can, like, listen out for, pay attention to, be aware of, and what you do with that information is up to you entirely. But, like, the awareness, I think, is super important. But that preface does sound kind of stilted, like the thesis is going to be forced. Yeah, it did kind of sound like that a little bit, and I could see it being the case. I feel like there is merit to it, but without, obviously I can't get into it. There's not no ability to be able to read it in its entirety. Without that, I'm not able to actually know exactly what they're talking about. But and then we have all this other stuff. For now, I think that is pretty much where I want to end the conversation on scam. I know it is a scam. Fucking give me my education for free. I do not want to have to pay for anything. God fucking damn it. That is kind of all I want to get into right now. I'm going to post all 3 of those links in the Discord if you want to take a look at them and read them for yourself and just, like, expound on that information on your own time. But now I want to get into the game. What if we did that? What if we got into the game? Would you guys like to get into the video game? Fly around? I'm about to fly the fuck around, baby. So the other thing that I was talking about, right? The first part of all of this information that I'm, like, interested in is wanting to just dig into and have the conversation and learn and become aware of race in the World of Warcraft and how it impacts play games, dull your mind. I'm about to dull the fuck out of my mind, babe. You so right. But that was one element of it, right? Because I love learning. I just like being aware, right? The second part is getting into the game and sort of exploring the lore and exploring the story and exploring the race-specific, like, information almost through the lens of a culturally relative experience. Like, not going to put my own ethnocentric ideologies on it if I can help it, maybe using them as parallels to, like, identify what I'm seeing, but not, like, just letting it be the thing and looking at it, right? And just being like, ooh, what is this? Oh my God, this is what this is doing, right? And so I think it'd be interesting to maybe do that as well. Because I also like the idea of World of Warcraft having archaeology in it. What does archaeology in World of Warcraft mean, right? What does that look like? What are we doing with that? And what are the findings all about? It's cool. And Dan, thank you so much. 30 more days, ad-free experience. I love you to bits. Mwah. Thank you for coming back in here and dropping me a little subby wubby. 32 months is a long time, especially with your prime. Was the first practice day? Oh shit, a lot of pressure? Yeah. Wait, for what? A friend is getting married and there's a function called is it a sangeet? Where me and 5 other of his friends are gonna do a group dance. Wait, that's so fun! You've been dancing for so long. How is it coming? Are you guys feeling like good? And hi, Eclipse, welcome in. How you doing? Epic song alert, but what racial conclusions do we make about Nikki choosing that similar? What racial conclusions are you guys gonna make? Go on. Go on. I'm gonna go use the restroom really quickly because I gotta go pee. Forgotten all the steps. Excellent. Kai, excellent. I love it. I love it. No stress. None, to be honest. Fair enough. She gonna poop. No, I have to go pee. I'm gonna go pee, and then we'll come back, and we will... Please don't get mad at me. Skibbity toilet right into the World of Warcraft. Is that how that works? Skibbity Rizzler, Ohio. Is that not how it works? I'm confused. We all I don't know what any of that means. Me either! I don't either, but I like saying it. I especially like saying skibbity toilet. I don't know why. But I'm gonna go skibbity on this toilet and then let me just get the game up. Hold on. I'm gonna what if it's like I'm gonna skibbity to the toilet? Bye. Bye, Kai. I love you. I hope you have a good shower. Well, okay, that was. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. I got into the. I fucking love you. I fucking love you too. I'll be our bees. Take a piss break, everybody. Do it with me. Go fucking follow Layla right now. Or else. Also, guys, I moved everybody's chats to the bottom. What do we think? Do we like it? Do we hate it? All right, everybody, say hello to my badass Zandalari troll. What's good, Yensid? How you doing today? You having a good day, eh? World of... Go follow Yensid right now. Yensid is incredible. I love Yensid. A GG human. I'm having a good one. Oh, I'm so happy to hear that, Yensid. Hell yeah. I'm also having a pretty good one. Yeah, we're chilling, we're vibing, we're figuring it out one day at a time. One day at a motherfucking time. So happy to have you here. But this is my Zandalari troll, everybody. And Yensid, right now what we're doing is we're going to do a little bit of an exploration of some locations in World of Warcraft. So that I can give you guys, those of you who have never seen the game before or you don't know anything about anything, we can see what the hell is going on. Earlier we were talking a lot of bit, just kidding. We were talking a lot of bit about culture and race as it pertains to World of Warcraft. I can't have to lyric. Have a great stream. YouTube, Belle. Thank you so much. Love having you here. Look away. I love Chinese food as well. Yum, yum, yum. I love lore and location exploring. Yes. So we're doing a little bit of that. Lore wise, I don't necessarily have that information. Eventually we're going to get Lewis onto the stream and we're going to have a little chitty chat about that. But we're going to talk about, like, we're going to look at the world through the lens we just sort of shaped on stream. I would love your inputs, everybody's inputs on, like, if you're familiar with architecture, if you're familiar with like societal architecture specifically, like if you know certain societies and groups of people and civilizations that have used certain architecture, game dev and programming. Yeah, basically, if you want to discuss that too, you can. What code did you guys use also to create these cool metal plates? But yeah, let's just fucking get into it. I'm gonna take you guys on a little bit of a tour of World of Warcraft, okay? But first of all, oh, it's where you're coming from? Excellent. Okay, sorry. I love that. Here, I don't want this flight type. I don't want this. I want not this. Hold on. I gotta land and I gotta figure this out. Okay, great. Put me on the ground. Thank you. How do I change back? How do I change my flight stuff back? Somebody who knows this game, help. Oh, here we go. Flight. No, flight. Flight style? Go. There we go. Switch. That's a big skill tree. It's huge. It's huge. We're not gonna get into that. That's too much. That's too much. But okay. So let me show you guys a little something. Where Squo's at? For real. Where Squo's at? Probably busy. So this is... No, I wanted to show you guys my character first. I think that's important. Should be in your collections where you see... Yeah, I found it, finally. Thank you, Hungry. Thank you, thank you. Okay. So, this is my character. This is what the Zandalari trolls look like. I don't know how any of this stuff was put on me, and so you could just barely see me. But this is a troll character in the World of Warcraft, and I genuinely, genuinely love her. Now, there are elements to this character that are, like, very heavily influenced, gold is a big thing for these particular characters, and, like, I need to do a little bit of researching to see what culture they're pulling from with that. Is there a culture, like an African ethnic tradition that has a deep, like a deep lore, deep whatever roots in stepped pyramids and gold? But I'll take a look at that later, figure it out. If anybody knows, please feel free to share. But this is her. I love her. Her name is Salvadora. That's not what I wanted. Okay. This is also something I'll have to look into, but we have the... Where is it? No. There's the Loa, which is, if I'm remembering correctly, in the spirituality of voodoo, you have Loa's spirit. I could be wrong, but I believe in the practice of voodoo, there are two spirits. And so, like, you have your, like a good spirit and a bad spirit, I think. I'd have to do more research. I should have also talked about that earlier. Maybe we can get into that another time. But, I don't really watch current events. Wait, Slovakia should be safe, right? Wait, what? Okay, elephant in the room with this discussion. Is it impossible to create mythical representations, concepts without referencing or basing them off existing cultures? Oh, you know what? I don't know, Tanjiro. Mythical representations, concepts without referencing or basing them off. I don't think I don't know if that's possible. Because I don't know if we are capable of creating something not based off of our own experiences. Like, I don't know if people have the capacity, like our brains have the capacity to think outside the scope of what we've experienced. I could be wrong. But I feel like we build off of it like building blocks. And so I'm not sure if we could. But everybody else, please contribute to that conversation. In regards to this, the Zandalari trolls have a real big relationship with dinosaurs. So we have a racial trait of dinosaur swoop. We have, I thought the same until I learned about past lives. And Benny, so that is one of those metaphysical topics that I can see the validity and I can see why people explore that, there's also people who don't understand it or don't align with that belief. And so, like, while that is not incorrect, it's just right now it would be difficult to get people on board with that. Intellectually disingenuous to say, oh, that looks kind of African. You had to have based it off. Well, yes, and I do agree with that, with people following that up with, and if you didn't know it, it was subconscious. Like, okay, then what culture are the aliens that Rick and Morty based off of? Ooh, I don't know, because I don't know the aliens on Rick and Morty. And I think that I see what you're saying. I do. So then, okay, then let's flip it around. Do you think that that's possible? And do you think it is possible for people, like, are you saying that you believe that people can come up with a culture or something and establish it? And, like, explain maybe the aliens from Rick and Morty if you can, or I can look into it later, just to have a better understanding of that perspective you're bringing, because that is very interesting. And, like, I don't disagree with that sentiment. So here we have the red rocks of where are we? Right? Kalimdor. Is this Durotar? So this is Durotar. Thanks, Benny. I think you're interesting too. And Durotar is the location, the starting location for the orcs and the trolls. Is crazy cool and creative, and just because I put a character with satin robes in my game doesn't mean I'm basing it off of specific existing culture. I guess there is an argument to be made then that, like, while yes, the brain is incredible and amazing and able to do so many things, the brain isn't the brain often working with the information that it's given? And so, like, can it even, like, is it even possible for the brain? I don't know. I want to do more science-y research into that, because I don't know I don't have a good grasp on, like, the neurological elements. But it is an interesting question, and it's a very good elephant in the room question to pose. Very, very, very good question. And it brings up very interesting, like, ethical debates. So I'm going to take us to the Dark Spear Troll starting area. Now, these are the Dark Spear Trolls that are from Vanilla. And so they're the ones that in the original paper that we were looking at were, they were, like, described as, like, vicious and cruel and all of that. But this is after several updates and several, like, expansions. So let's take a little peeksy-poo at how it's changed. The entrance here. We've got spikes, ropes. It's very, it's obviously on a cluster of islands. I don't see the people on spikes, but I do see the, like, influenced the African mask influence. I can see that. I actually haven't been to the Dark Spirit Isle in a really long time. What the heck? They have like, this is awesome. What the heck? It's so pretty. So look, I'm a dinosaur. I'm a druid. Games are creative endeavors to take it into an adjacent endeavor. What about manufactured goods? Are gas versus electrical vehicles based off of a given culture, or are we just trying to make connections for the sake of finding patterns, even if they are not strictly there? I don't quite understand where you're going with that, but it does feel like an extrapolation because culture doesn't necessarily align itself. Like when we speak about culture, we're mostly talking about if they're entertaining the cultural reference points. You think Native American? Let's take a look at it again. I have not given a lot of I have not seen a lot of masks, but this mask, and then I saw another one over here, I think. Did I see? Yes, I did. This one. I haven't either, to be honest. Yeah. It would be an interesting thing to have two windows up, one with WoW, one looking at all this stuff, and then the other one like actively like googling. Hi. Oh my god, look! Look at the trolls! Look at them! Oh man. I do like them. Trolls. And so the vanilla version had skulls on pikes. Oh, here we go. Skulls. On bones. In a bone pile. But it's a wooden mask that's not owned by one culture or another, even if it's more prevalent in some. I agree with the term it not being owned, but I do think when it comes to anthropology and when it comes to the conversation of cultures, there are influences. And so there are cultural influences, and that's how we, in an anthropological sense, basically, I guess, like, delineate between these different groups, because it's also really unfair to lump them all together and be like, oh, well, everybody had a wooden mask. But it's like, no, these people and these other people had two different types of wooden masks that have equal parts, like a significance to their specific cultures. But yeah, no one has necessarily, like, the interesting part about culture and finding these like similarities is that it shows that people have the capacity to, even if they're worlds apart, they still will use tools and use things in very similar ways, which makes us a lot more alike than different. It's just we then cultivate these made up cultures that create variances. Okay, in all seriousness, I think you bring up good points. Thank you, Benny. I appreciate it. But I think that we're all kind of like really contributing to the conversation in a really interesting way. And it's like challenging too, because it challenges, whether it's challenging our own beliefs or somebody else's beliefs, or just presenting a different perspective. It helps to encourage more thought, more intentional thought. How are these bones staying on fire? That's your own conclusions, yeah? Yeah. How are these bones staying on fire? But anyway, so this location used to be where the trolls were, and a self-sustaining fire. Damn. That's actually kind of crazy. Bones on fire? Question mark? Fake? This game is fake. It's not real at all. Fake game. Burning. Doesn't that have a different connotation? And like, so, okay. On the one hand, there is all of the stuff that we talked about in the articles, all the papers, all the deeper meanings trying to be discovered in all of these games. And some of them, they're probably founded, and others might just be, you know, an anthropologist really just trying to fucking like make noise where noise doesn't need to be made. But as somebody who just enjoys the game, as somebody who just enjoys culture, as somebody who enjoys like immersing herself in stuff and like enjoying it, not like thinking like, oh, this culture is good and this culture is bad, but just enjoying like, oh my god, there's all these different like things and like different ways of being. Like, I enjoy playing and seeing like this cultural representation for these trolls. I also love going to the Zandalari location and seeing the cultural representation of those trolls. And I like going to, I think the Alliance place, while I love Stormwind and stuff, I think it's probably the most boring because it's just fucking a castle. But it's like going to these different locations and seeing all these different things. It's fun. The pandas? Pandarans? This Naga should not be locked up. This is rude. Hi Lewis, welcome back. We're now in the game, just fucking vibing. I'm giving everybody a little bit of a tour of the game, especially if they've never played it before. Hi, you want to see where WoW is? I mean, never mind. What I love about the present is that the internet is now just our culture, shared culture of all of us, no matter where you live and anything else. Yeah, the internet is definitely, it is a incredible and sometimes scary place, but it is definitely becoming our culture, our space. Now, this is the Alliance, so you will see the differences between the Horde and the Alliance. Look at their ships. And I'll show you the Zeppelins for the Horde when we go back. Oh, we have Horde ships over there.
Melon Morum cheered X5.
Steampunky?
If it isn't Nikki Furry, scientific name Dorcas Laudiaparius. Wow to her playing WoW. How riveting. Also I can't wait for RE8 again, and for the love of God please don't make it false advertisement or pull a fast one on us, mumbles. I never cause chaos here, but I def will if it doesn't happen. Nikki Hicked.
You're a goddamn liar. Oh, I'm fatigued. Hi Ram, thank you so much for the biddies. I appreciate you. Also, I promise, if I say that I'm gonna play RE8, I'll play RE8. And the next time that I say I'm gonna play Hollow Knight, I'm gonna actually play Hollow Knight. I promise. It's just I got a little caught up, okay? Tanjiro, thank you for paying your taxes. But like the differences in design, shit balls. This is a lot of the Alliance architecture. So as it relates, Hollow Knight's on my list too. Have you never played it before? It's pretty fun. It's a pretty good time. Hi, April. April, are you getting on the game? April, guess what? If you're not doing anything later, we're playing World of Warcraft together as a community. Just saying. Tonight. Just throwing that out there. Never yet. Blueprints has been taking priority for me, though. I have heard so many people playing Blueprints and loving it. I'm interested in it, but I'm also kind of like super creative and unique puzzle game. Yeah, I've seen people play it and it looks really interesting and it looks really neat. But obviously, as you see, I am like overwhelmed by the amount of games that I have that I want to play. Hollow Knight though was super fun. Getting into it was actually really enjoyable, but I really want to beat it. Like I don't want to spend too much time on it, and it's one of those games that you can either spend a lot of time on it or just a little bit of time, and I want to do the latter. Please go and follow April. We love April here. Thank you for the shout out for April. Oh god, we're gonna go over to for blueprints. Definitely use really there's a sound element to it. Oh shit. Okay, so this is what they were talking about. Those of you again who have never played the game, these are the Tauren. So they are like minotaur looking bull people. Okay. I'll definitely see. I might even try to get Dan to play blueprints so that I can watch him play it instead of me having to play it, you know? Because sometimes that's nice. I just like watching. There are huge drums. You can see that it is very influenced by like Native American culture. We've got the totem poles over here, and like there are just elements of it, you know? And it's like, again, outside the scope of it being a potentially harmful inclusion without utmost respect, it is beautiful. I did see Plank. Yeah, did you see Plank? I also saw Plank. Minotaur looking bull people. Yeah, they're literally Minotaur. Oh wait, but is that like one and the same? Is that like me saying chai tea? He has a broom. And I just think this is so cool, and I love the... Let's go this way so I can show you guys the Tauren's location. What the fuck is that? What is that? What is that? Whose sword is that? Guys, what is that? Hold on. That's it. Hold on. We're gonna go this way, cause... Huh? Who is that? What is that? You're so behind. What is that? Like, I'm sorry, I could only fly so fast. I'm just a little dinosaur gal. I can only fly so fast. I'm trying. Give me a mic. Louis, you're gonna have to talk my fucking ear off today. I finally got flying, so now I feel like I can actually do shit. Let's go! April. Get in there. We're just gonna be leveling, chatting, hanging out, vibing. Oh, I can. I'm ready. What? God, where are we going? Where is this? Faralas? Oh my god, I haven't been in these areas in a long ass time. Wait, how far is this? It looks pretty far away. Ugh. Okay, well that's the place of the Tauren. It's pretty cool. And see, they're on the mesas. It's in Silithus. Fucking goddamn it, dude, that is pretty far. It's not super far, but it's kind of far. Teleport command. Teleport me. You know what I do find kind of unfortunate, and I don't know, Lewis, tell me if I'm wrong in this, or anybody who plays WoW. But like, has the leveling, the way that you can level in this game kind of ruined all of the like amount of worlds that they've created? Because I know it's scaled right now, so you can level anywhere, but like, I don't think there's anybody leveling here, right? Like, or maybe like 1 or 2 people, but it's not like how it was back in the day. You can level so fast and skip everything. That's what I'm saying. And so like, you can level, like I didn't, on this character, I don't think I did a single quest that was not, like I hit my first 10 quests when I was at like level 40. So you can just skip everything. But back in the day, you put, what? Ew, this is gross. This is gross. Ew, 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 ew. Oh, you did dungeon heals too? Damn. I played classic WoW and getting to level 60 took some time. It did! And you had to like you have to go across the world and you have to actually learn like the lore and stuff. It was honestly kind of sick. And ew. It's so gross. What is this? There's a part of me that really wants to just, do you think if I, let's see. This is the nasty culture. That's what this is. I'm just kidding. That's not true. This is the demon culture. Yeah! I mean, there's also a leveling event now that sped things. Oh, that's true. There is a leveling event happening right now. What the fuck? Dude, this is craziness. This is crazy. Hi. Okay, well, this is happening. This was an unexpected turn of events. Let me try and get back to Ogromar so I can take you guys to the Zandalari troll area, and then that'll be where we kind of wrap it up so I can go and play World of Warcraft with my friends. Yeah, so you can like now level super duper freaking fast, which is neato for people like us who are like, I just need to go. I call this music orchestral and not of a specific cultural derivative, which is valid, but I don't know much about much about music, so I wouldn't even be able to be like, I can hear notes of whatever. Where was I going? Zandalari. Where's the Zandalari? Zandalari. This way, yeah? Hello? Hello? Is it here? Is it here? Wait, it's over there. Hello? Wait. Wait, it's over here. No, it's over here. It's over here. For sure. It's like this one over here. For sure. Right? No, this is the dragon. Guys, how do I get to Zandalari? Is there like a... Is there a portal? Anybody? The heck? Okay, these are all dragons. Boat. Is it this boat? Like down here? Is this the dock? No, the dock would be... Hey, where are you going? Where the hell are you going? Ad in 40 seconds. Thank you, Lewis. There's an ad coming of a buddy in 40 seconds. Zeppelin. Stranglethorn. Yeah, the shark was absolutely Atlantis culture. Absolutely. 1000%. Boat.
Atticus Gadfly 14 just gifted 1 sub.
Lewis! Thank you so much for gifting a sub. Toe pig nose. 30 more days ad-free experience. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you enjoy your emotes. I hope you enjoy your ad-free experience now. You don't have to sit through ads, but everybody else has to. Isn't that a joy? Isn't that a gift? Lewis, thank you. Okay. You said boat. Just in time, too, for real. Oh, real. Dragon eyes. I literally thought maybe it's no, it isn't here. There's a freaking portal. I'm remembering now. There's a freaking portal in here to this no wait no this one. Hell yeah, brothers. Okay. It's so neat! It's so neat! We are gonna have to do, like, the leveling quests in here. Because, like, look at this! Wait, let's just do it! Let's do a walking tour! Walking tour! Ahem. This is the World of Warcraft. Zandalari Twol, main island. Port of Zandalar. Look at these fucking sick-ass boats. That's the undead boat. I don't know what this one is. This is just a normal boat. Look at it. There's dinosaurs everywhere. Oh, the orcs are so small. They really are. They really are small. The architecture in here is beautiful. Look at this. Now, when I see this, though, my immediate reaction is I see my own biases. Sees the impression of... No, not Atlantis. Close, though. Not Atlantis at all. Not even close. Like Mayan or like Aztec. Something pre-Columbian. And then the stepped pyramids as well. Aztec, yeah. I can also see Aztec. But like the stepped pyramid for the actual main structure. They even call it a terrace. Can see, yeah. That looks like the sun god Tenutia? What is that from? But then, like, this is one of the characters that I flew by, and I was just like, the Rastari Bruiser? Mixed with... And maybe... And they have a lot of, like... I don't know. But there's definitely a bit of an amalgamation going on here. Lots of what I think cultural influences. Oh, and also the gold thing. Remember how I told you guys, like, City of Gold, which is specific to, like, Aztec, right? Increase gold earned from creatures by 2%. And this music does not speak to me as, like, enemy music, contrary to the article that we saw. There's sentries. If I go all the way up so we can get to the queen, because she's fucking sick as hell. And there's only so many resources. The Old Testament has a lot of documented designs involving gold, and other precious metal. Aztec designs used heavy gold in my perception, but I don't know. I think so as well. But yeah, there's lots of areas and civilizations that this could be pulling from. Oh, look, the golden throne. Wait, you're not who I thought you were. You're the king. I don't want to talk to you. Where's the lady? Bit of a stream of consciousness there. Yeah, but it made sense. Where's the lady? Where's the queen? I don't want to talk to the king. There's a queen. Where is she? What the hell? Hi, Z. Welcome in. How are you? How you? Meow. This place does have Quetzalcoatl Feathered Serpent Temple vibes. Yes. And there was actually like 2 raids back in the day that also literally had those exact vibes as well. But again, I don't know if there's a like a culture with African origins and like traditions that also has stepped pyramids. Like there could be. And so it doesn't necessarily have to be that, but it just feels like they're just like, this would be really sick. Let's put them all together like this. Honestly, it's very pretty. Like, this is very pretty. I'm really eepy together with my kitten. That's so wonderful, though. I'm a bit sick, and antibiotics and prescribed are making me extremely eepy. Well, resting with the baby kitty is a good way to spend your day. Okay, so I'm kind of pissed off because I thought that there was a queen, not a king. No offense to this dude or anything, but like, where? Okay, my daughter believes. Yeah, you guys can't read this. Let me show you guys. My daughter believes the threats in Nazmir are so great that we must throw our entire army at our northern border. She is young and impatient. She does not understand that the blood trolls have pestered our people for generations. On a scale of 10, how much is Nikki enjoying this game so far? Like an 11. I thoroughly enjoy playing WoW, admittedly. I know it's not everybody's cup of tea. I definitely understand, but I love it. It's so much fun for me. Are you having a really good day today, Z? Outside of obviously feeling a little sick. So I thought this was a queen. It's not. It's a king. Which is fine, I guess, but I just literally thought it was a queen. And I think that's basically all I really wanted to show y'all. It is this is a queen? There's pectorals. Is this the... This is... You just need... I need to quest... Oh, okay. Sorry, my bad. Maybe that'll be the next thing that we do, is we actually go through and we do all the quests for this section. Heard. But that's basically all I really wanted to talk to you guys about and explore with this. I think it presented some really interesting conversations. I think ultimately it's going to be everybody's own individual opinions on what, like how you perceive what games do and the choices that they make. Ultimately, my thought is that there is either a conscious or a subconscious influence um, being introduced in these fantasy worlds, but the unspoken biases can sometimes come into play that are sometimes bigoted, are sometimes racist, are sometimes sexist, and that's just something interesting to consider. It's something interesting to consider for people who are going to be exploring game development and design, media development and design into the future, whether or not they want to apply that knowledge or not, apply that consciousness or not. But it's just a very interesting approach to media, and I don't think that's a bad thing to consider. Fucking sport lady, thank you, Critical. I appreciate it. My closing thought: my truth does not equal objective truth. My truth is perception based. Objective truth, if it exists, necessarily supersedes all forms of perception. And Tanjiro, I do think that to some degree that resonates with me as well. But until objective truth presents itself in existence, my truth has to have a higher, has to be weighed higher, because objective truth is not like always apparently evident. But I do not disagree, and I appreciate your perspective. I think we can all be a little more cognizant of the media we consume. It may not change our interaction with it, but the awareness is so important. Thanks for the conversation. Absolutely, Layla. Yeah, and that's what I agree with. I think there is an awareness. Awareness is fun. Awareness is hot. Awareness is, oh, it's so sexy. And so, if you guys are aware, just know it's rad. Objective truth equals top 10 coolest streamers. Oh my gosh, awareness is so sexy. It's so dang hot. But yeah, I really appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for contributing to the conversation, truly. I know that sometimes my opinions can be a little stalwart, and is that the right term? I think so. And like I'm very I could be a little righteous, and I could be a little like self-important, and I get that. But I really like having these conversations with y'all because so many of you bring to the conversation something different. You don't just agree with me, you challenge me, and I love that. So thank you guys, thank you guys, thank you guys. I'm happy to be able to do this again. Sundays are always so much fun whenever we can learn together. We'll figure out what to learn next. I have no idea, but Sunday fun day indeed. That wasn't my intention. No, Critical. It's not just you. It's not just you. It's everybody. I love it. And I think it's important. It's important for me. It's a good challenge for me, because it makes me uncomfortable, and that's the kind of discomfort that I appreciate and I want. So yeah, loved what I was here for. Can't wait to chat about in-depth game lore. I know, me too. Oh, hey, friend. Are you going to contribute to Layla's convo on nihilism? Yes, when Layla has it, I would love to. Because I got thoughts. I'm a nihilistic bitch sometimes. So I'm ready. It's good to be challenged in a respectful way. It helps our brain grow. I agree. Sorry, you guys weren't able to see, but this is what I was looking at. This guy just came up right next to me, and we're just looking out together. So let's find a place where we can go. What are we feeling today? I'm going to go through and do my little thank yous to all of you for being here, being a part of the space. I'm so excited as well, Layla. I can't wait. I know that you were not necessarily feeling it the other day, but I look forward to the conversation when it comes about. Let me see. Thank you so much for the follows. Always appreciated. Love having you guys here. 3 hours. Speak of the devils, thank you for the photos. Bad news, you're growing and it's uncomfortable. Good news, it's uncomfortable, but you're growing to 0. Oh my god, I feel like I could use some fried chicken. I also would like fried chicken. Actually, that sounds really nice. I want that. So thank you guys for the follows, including that newest one. Happy to have you here. Lewis, thank you for resubscribing to the channel with your Prime membership. You sweet bean. Maple Takes, thank you so much for the subscription as well. Happy to have you a part of the community now. Dan, thank you for the resubscription with your Prime as well. 32 months is a very long time. Ram, thank you for the biddies. Lewis, thank you for gifting a sub. I was feeling too pessimistic to have it. I would have been like, life sucks. There's no point in anything, and we died. That's it! Honestly, I completely get it. There's a part of me that thought maybe I should find another day for this conversation, but I'm happy we did it. And I'm looking forward to it. So go follow Layla. Go follow all of our friends. Who the fuck's online right now that you guys want to go to? Whose house do we want to go and raid? Let's go send some love somewhere. Where do we want to go? Point me in a direction. Right now. Have you raided Elfie recently? Raided Elfie recently? I think I did. I think we raided Elfie, if not the last raid, maybe the one before that. Are we headed north? Is that what you're saying? You scared me for a second. I was like, who's north? I don't think I could do it. If they're a big streamer, thank you. Yes, you did put me in the right direction. Beautiful. Puka is on. Where's Puka? Where the fuck is Puka? Hold on. Please hold. Did Puka just come on? Tiz is also live. What the fuck? So is Midi. Midi's also live. I see Midi. Where's Puka? We'll go to Puka. Though I gotta hop off regardless. No worries. Yeah. We'll, let's go ahead and gather everybody and let's raid out. We're gonna go over to Puka's place. I'm just gonna trust Layla. Switches. And then, hold on. Discord. And wow. If you are a subscriber, the first message posted is for you, the raid message, and the second one is for all of our lurkers and our followers. We are gonna raid out to Puka's place. I would love it if you joined us in the Discord or on socials. But there's no pressure, and if you are a WoW player and you would like to join the guild, we would love to have you be a part of that as well. Thank you again, everybody. You all are so insightful and so much fun to have conversations with, and I'm really grateful to be a part of this community with you all and to continue building something that hopefully those of you who become a part of the conversations can walk away with something to talk about, maybe with your friends or family members or loved ones. We said this yesterday or the other day with Liz, but we are just trying to plant seeds, right? We're just trying to be better for our communities, show up for our communities, be more cognizant and aware of the ways in which we can impact and influence other people. And so yeah, you guys are really rad and I love having you guys here. So enjoy the rest of your day. Let's send all the love to Puka. Midi's live right now. Siri's live right now. Joy, Elfie, Tiz, so many wonderful people. So go find the place that you feel most comfortable in, and I'll catch you guys next week, okay? I don't know when, but sometime next week. I love you all. Mwah. Goodbye.